See my boy over there? He owns the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his mom does, but he kind of does.
But his dad used to own the Raiders, and his dad was a hell of a guy.
See my boy over there? He's so confident he wears all white while eating buffalo wings.
See my guy? Look how good he looks now that he's no longer wearing the propeller hat beanie.
Oh man. Yeah. See my boy over there? He drives a conversion van. Bet you'd never guess that. No, actually I would. All right, yeah. All right, Mark Davis, we got you, bro.
My boy over there, he can drink 7 sweet teas at P.F. Chang's before the appetizers come out.
On today's Pardon My Take, we are back from the long weekend. We got a lot of basketball to talk about, and we have an awesome in-person interview with Danny Ainge. We also are going to talk about the passing of the legend Bill Walton, and we have some unreleased footage from our interview with him, which we never actually put it out on video, so that'll be at the end of the episode. We have 35 minutes.
It was back in 2017 in Las Vegas before the Pac-12 championship, the Conference of Champions.
Yes.
And it was a unforgettable experience, so we've condensed it down into about 30 minutes, but I think it was much longer than that.
Yeah, because
it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who probably didn't hear it. I know there's a lot of people who didn't see it because it was before we released every podcast on video, so that will be in video as well. At the end, we're going to talk. Half of the NBA Finals is set. Cocky Hank gets paid off. Also, the Mavs are up 3-0. Some hockey, some hot seat, cool throne. And we're happy to be back. We're excited to be back. Extra long show because we're not going to have a show on Wednesday. Our next show will be Friday, so we have an extra long show for the people. And we're brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. We're this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. There's only so many games left, and DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting odds, boosts, and so much more. Don't miss out, or you'll have to wait until next NBA season to place your bets. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your squad, and place your first bet. It's that simple. You can bet Game 4 of the Mavs versus Wolves. That is Tuesday night. Just a little tip. Kyrie Irving has never lost a closeout game.
That's interesting.
So just remember that. If you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers can go get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500. Just deposit at least $5, and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers to get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Pardon My Take, presented by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TAKE. That's code TAKE for new customers. Get a no-sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Today is Tuesday, May 28th, and we have lost a legend. Bill Walton passed away on Monday. Kind of shocking.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was battling cancer, and it was also shocking in the fact that, we'll talk about celebrity deaths. I think this might be the first one that's ever led the show, and I think it's appropriate because this one, I don't know about you, PFT, but like when I saw it hit, the news hit, I was really, really like affected and bummed out because I loved Bill Walton, and I'm like so happy that we were actually able to interview him, and he was just walking joy.
Yeah.
And it was like really sad to see that news.
Yeah, I don't really get emotional about celebrity deaths. I did cry when I found out about Bill because he was such a positive person. And when we had the opportunity to meet him, we met him for one day in 2017. One day, we spent about 2 hours with him. Just a blip on his radar. And I've missed Bill ever since then.
Yeah.
Like I actually miss hanging out with Bill Walton, and he was so fun to be around and such a unique person and just larger than life in every single aspect. The joy that he brought countless people, the joy that he was able to exude. He was without a doubt a one-of-a-kind human being. They've never made anybody like Bill Walton. They're never going to make anybody like Bill Walton again. And so for that reason, I'm sad that the world no longer has that unique person in it. But Bill Walton would probably get very mad at us if he heard us being sad about him.
Yeah.
That's not his vibe. I am going to be sad because that's just how it makes me feel. The only good part of today was we got to hear hours and hours of Bill Walton's stories.
Yes.
Which was very nice to hear because everyone that met Bill is like, he changed their lives.
He was authentically Bill. Like he was the same person when we were lucky enough to interview him. He was just exactly what we expected. I said at the beginning of the show, if you skip through it, we interviewed him in 2017. This was early days, first year of Pardon My Take. So it was just the three of us.
I think that was right after the Evander Holyfield interview.
Right after we got duped by Evander Holyfield. But it was just the three of us. So we didn't release the podcast on video. So we were able to find the hard drive, and we'll have the video of the 35 minutes we're going to put at the end of this show. If you're a new AWL, listen to it. It was a joy. It also, I've told this story before, but the two things that were so great when we interviewed him, one, he asked me beforehand if it's okay if he brings his own chair. Mm-hmm. And then he said it's the greatest chair ever. And if you watch the video, it's I think for his back, because he obviously had like so many surgeries on his back. He's just towering over us. And the second was we interviewed him. We both were very like not anxious, but like nervous going into this interview because we wanted to nail it. I wrote down all these questions. I think I might have asked two of them because Bill just talked, and about 2 hours in, he's like, how long does this go? And we're like, it's kind of up to you, Bill. Like, we're having a great time. And so he just was the best. Like, I was just smiling the entire interview. And you're right. Like, all these stories that have come out. I also, like, as great as he was as a broadcaster, I loved just his little corner of the world where it's like, it's a late night game on the West Coast, and Bill Walton's going to get weird, and he's just going to be fun. It's crazy how good he was at basketball and how injuries took away so much of it. People should watch. There's a 4-part documentary, Luckiest Man in the World, that came out a couple of years ago. I actually think maybe because I remember when it came out, I was like, "This is kind of weird." It's out. It might have been because he was battling cancer. But he was one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. If he hadn't had to deal with injuries his entire career in the NBA, he very well could have been a top 5-7 player of all time because of like he won a title with Portland, who never wins anything, won an MVP, then was part of the '86 Celtics.
All the Portland fans at home right now are just catching the biggest ricochet.
I mean, it's true though, but he was that good of a basketball player, and then his life touched everyone after being in broadcasting and all his Grateful Dead stories. It's just like he saw 1,000 shows, all one song.
It's all one song. That's what I'll always remember. Like and it makes sense when he says it's all one song.
Yeah.
I tapped into his worldview. You can't stay there because it's only Bill's brain and he only truly understands what he's saying. But when he's talking about, it is all one song in like a very like spiritual sense. I know we're getting sappy, but like I am sad.
No, I was sad.
I'm deeply sad about Bill Walton, and it's not only did he won I think 3 Naismith Player of the Years in college, which is crazy, and then he won NBA MVP, and he also won NBA Sixth Man of the Year.
For the Celtics.
Which is probably that's got to be a very small list, I would imagine, of players that have done both.
Yeah, and in a serendipitous moment, there's a minor serendipitous moment, the fact that we interviewed Danny Ainge in person 2 weeks ago, and we had been holding it because we're like, oh, this is such a great interview. Let's wait till we come back for Memorial Day. He has some great Bill Walton stories in there that obviously now they feel even more important. And then, of course, the fact that Bill Walton passed away a day after the Pac-12 played their last sporting event ever. I was legitimately like, what is going to – he loves that conference so much. What's going to happen? And now He's just I don't believe in heaven, but I do with Bill Walton. He's probably hanging out with Jerry Garcia right now.
And the Pac-12 is on 24/7.
Yeah.
And he's loving it.
Yeah.
It's like, the Pac-12 ends. Bill's like, well, my work here is done.
Yeah. I'll share one last thing. So we tried to get him on a couple other times in the last few years, and every time he would text back, he was so Bill Walton and so nice. But the one time that I laugh about when we tried to get him back on a few years ago, and he just wrote back, "Thanks, Big Cat, for your kindness in my life. You guys are amazing, and you have an incredible audience. I still get more positive and interesting comments / feedback from your show than from almost any other thing I have ever done in my life. Please, I am sadly ricocheting through the universe on the business road through Memorial Day. Sorry. Hopefully next time you're back through the promised land. Shine on, dream on, build on, carry on. B-Dub."
Love that.
Bill with 2 L's.
Bill with 2 L's, and he always spelled his wife's name, Lori, Lori. Yeah. I'm the luckiest man in the world, he used to always say. Did he give us nicknames, Hank?
I don't think so.
I thought he did something to remember our names by.
Yeah, I don't remember. I also had I
also have to imagine that he texts everybody that way.
Yeah.
Like he's
authentically
very
Bill.
Very positive to say to close out every conversation with everyone.
Yeah, and he just meant so much to us as sports fans. You mentioned all the stories. I did see one that I wanted to share that was very funny from Vince Mancini. He said, "My favorite Bill Walton story was Luke Walton telling how for Christmas his dad would just wrap up some free swag he collected. And one year Luke Walton's stocking was just huge and overstuffed, and he was all excited to open it. And then when he did, it was all power bars inside."
That's awesome.
Perfectly
Vince
built.
Mancini is very funny too. I like that guy. Film drunk.
Yeah. So legend, absolute legend. Like I said, it's we don't usually start the show or even talk about death, but Bill Walton felt like it was someone we had to. So tune in for Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge tells a great Bill Walton story that I had never heard about chess.
Yeah, and just also bear in mind that during the interview we did pre-tape it, so when he's talking about Bill,
he
had no idea that he passed away.
Right, and then at the end of the show, after Lottery Ball, we will have the 35 minutes of our interview with Bill Walton. So please listen to it if you never listened to it. If you have, listen to it again because it will make you happy and smile.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the best. Okay, Hank.
Yes.
Congratulations on being in the NBA Finals.
Thank you.
Some might say Eastern Conference merchant, but that's fine. You play who you play.
Cash the under. Remember when we said I said the line would be 4.5? That was way too high. Way too high. They lost 2 games in their path to the finals. It also, like, people were like, "Oh man, the Pacers, they were right there," because game 1 they threw away. Game 3, Rick Carlisle just was like, "I have the youngest team and I'm not going to use a timeout." But guess what? I actually look at it the other way. The Celtics are a seasoned team that knows how to make big plays, and that's what they did time and time again in this series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of adversity for a sweep.
Oh, okay.
Was
this the hardest sweep ever?
No, but it was a well-earned, hard-fought sweep. The Pacers showed up. They didn't give up. But the Celtics, like Big Cat said, overcame it in the past when it feels like they turtle up in close games and kind of turn into more iso ball selfish stuff. Like they didn't do that at all. They found a way to win. They made plays when they had to, and they won 3 games where they were down late in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
In a sweep against a inferior team. That's all you can ask for.
They stopped. The Pacers didn't score for the last 3.5 minutes in this game tonight on Monday night.
Jaylen Brown, Eastern Conference Finals. You could tell when he got the trophy, like he wasn't expecting it, and like that meant a lot to him.
I think he deserved.
Wait, Jason Tatum didn't win?
No, I think Jaylen Brown deserved this one big time.
Jason Tatum had a great game 3.
So did Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had a great game too. He hit the big shot in game.
Jaylen Brown
also
is so good.
You know who could have won it is Drew Holiday because his defense. That's why you make that trade, and like that type of player who can make the big moment plays on defense. Like he was awesome.
Was that at the end of Game 3? The little poke away that he had there,
the steal, yeah.
Also,
and the rebound tonight.
Yep. Shout out to Rick Carlisle, by the way, for that end of game play that he drew up in Game 3. He just basically turned into a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost had that one. That was like, just inches away from going in.
Like 4 verts.
Yeah, I love that play. So keep running that, Rick. But yeah, Hank, you guys were the much better team.
Cocky Hank deserves this.
I'm ready. I mean, that's the Drew Holiday and Porzingis, like those are two huge difference makers that we didn't have last time we were in the finals. They're, Drew Holiday's won an NBA championship. Porzingis is amazing. I feel great. I'm
now,
ready.
would it affect you
My
at all?
body is
Because
ready.
Porzingis isn't back yet. Would it affect how ready you are if maybe hypothetically the Mavericks sweep and then the timetable for the NBA Finals gets moved up? You guys are playing later on this week.
That's not how it works.
Oh, wait, that's not how it works because the NBA is a bunch of fucking idiots and they're going to make us wait until June 6th to tip off?
No matter what.
No matter what. So what are we?
6, no matter what.
What are we supposed to do with these 2 weeks here?
Yeah, it's
Need a
crazy.
Pro Bowl.
I said it on Sunday night. I was like, I'm rooting for a double sweep just so we can make fun of the NBA scheduling.
Yeah, it's
And then someone pointed out that fans have to book their hotels. They booked their hotels and tickets months ago. It's like for all
Celtics.
permutations
Yeah.
of this.
Celtics fans did,
Like,
knowing that they would be.
but imagine if they did that last year.
Yeah.
There's no way any fan books their hotels and plane tickets for the NBA Finals months in advance.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. at
It
all.
doesn't make
It
any
makes zero
sense.
Now, if I know the NBA, I would expect the other series to go a little bit longer, burn up some of that time.
Kyrie, though, has never lost a closeout.
He's never lost a closeout game.
Never lost a closeout. So, Hank, you feel confident,
Very confident.
and now you're obviously rooting for the Wolves.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Mavs no matter what. So I don't really care. And they're gonna have enough rest, even if it goes 7. I mean, if it goes 7, that would maybe affect things, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the Mavs.
So,
Lucky wants his revenge. How much? It will be a talking point. It will be a storyline if it is Mavs Celtics. How big of a factor is the stomping on Lucky in your head?
It's a huge factor. I mean, we talk about it with Danny Ainge, but that was as disrespectful as it gets.
yeah. Also, revenge game for Kristaps.
Yeah.
Former Dallas Maverick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got some messages from a friend of the program,
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to send you a few statements, Hank. Should we read them to him, Big Cat?
You can read them, yeah. He
Should I-
really wants you
I
to
think
date
it's
Tiffany
supposed to be.
Gomas.
It's supposed to be Hank reading them in a Boston accent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to
Yeah,
read them?
tell Hank to read these to Tiffany.
But the
Gomez,
Mavs are not set yet, so
should we save
we
it
should
for
save
Thursday
it.
if they-
Yeah.
please. Yeah, we'll save these. There's a lot of them.
He kept adding throughout the
Yeah.
day. I got an email out of nowhere.
Everyone, all the Swifties that came after me for the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift video idea that I threw out there, what they thought I was doing, that is literally what Jerry O'Connell's doing with Hank and Tiffany Gomas.
Yes,
He wants that
he does, and he wants to see it.
to a weird level.
He wants to ride on a helicopter
Hog
watch-
hunting.
and watch Hank shoot his nut out of the helicopter and hit Tiffany with it.
Are you a little worried that you're going to have to go against Tiff?
House divided. I mean, it is what it is. Celtics are more important.
Split jersey.
But congratulations, Hank.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. I mean, we'll see what happens in the finals, but the Celtics were just better than everyone in the East. You can't apologize for that. They just were the better team by far.
They have been all year.
This is
Yeah.
exactly how you drew it up too.
Yeah, 2 losses.
Ball
That's it.
Yeah. And now
Shaft.
Now they're going to go and hopefully we have a good NBA finals.
Yeah, I'm fine with another Celtics sweep, but
That would be crazy because then everyone would have to just switch if the Celtics swept the finals and be like, are they an all-time great team?
Yeah, we'd have to have the conversation.
We'd have to have the conversation.
Especially-
That's on the table for you.
Especially if they beat maybe the best offensive backcourt of all time in the finals. Was that Kenny the Jet that first said that?
Yeah.
One of the guys on TNT said that about the Mavericks. Kyrie and Luka, the best offensive backcourt of all time. And people laughed at him. And then they played 3 games, and they're like, maybe it's not that far off.
Are we permission to glaze the Mavericks, Hank, without thinking that we're saying anything bad about the Celtics?
yeah, of course. I
Okay.
mean, the glazing was coming. That was never a question.
Right, but can we separate? Do you have any other thoughts on the Celtics before we move to the Mavs Wolves? Because I don't want this to get. I don't want thoughts to get twisted here.
No, let the
When we
let the
compliment
glazing commence.
When we compliment the Mavs, it's separate than the Celtics.
Let the
Max, what are you
glazing
shaking your
commence.
head about?
I have hated everything that Hank has said in the past 10 minutes, but that's fine.
What would you have said if you were him?
I mean, he just talked about how it was a hard-fought battle against a great Pacers team without mentioning that their best player didn't fucking play.
Well,
So yes.
Wait, who smoked 15 cigs
I don't know.
today?
I just hadn't,
Us
I
or
hadn't
you?
spoken in a while.
Oh yeah, we should say that we did the John Daly challenge earlier today. So I think me, Big Cat, and Hank are averaging somewhere between 13 and 15 cigarettes each.
Yeah, I feel a little weird.
I feel great.
Yeah, I feel a little weird.
I have a headache.
That video's coming out. Tweet at Max. He'll get the video out as fast as possible.
It's already
Next week.
It's already edited. He's just waiting for somebody to tell him to press the button.
Yep. If no one says press the button, he will not put that out. But if you say it enough, say it 1,000 times, it will happen.
Max just interrupted the glazing.
Yeah. All right.
I'm ready for the Mavs glazing.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And I wanted to be personal towards Hank.
Well, they call Hank Nicky Glazer.
all right. So Max, if you want to take notes at the end and just and you can add a personal slant towards Hank, you're more than welcome to. The Mavericks. So we obviously have been off since Friday. We saw Luka on Friday night completely emasculate Rudy Gobert, hit the game-winning shot in his face. With Rudy doing I thought the saddest part was Rudy like doing the double jump to try to get there, and his body just couldn't get there.
Yeah.
And then Luka saying, "You can't fucking guard me. You can't guard me." And then on Sunday night, in a similar fashion, Luka and Kyrie completely took over the game. The Wolves look like the moment is too big for them. Anthony Edwards looks gassed, and weirdly, like, in the fourth quarters has been kind of just – there was a couple possessions, especially Sunday night, where he just had no urgency and just passed the ball at the last second that, like, Kyle Anderson made that crazy shot that he, like, cross-court.
Yeah.
Like, here, you take it. Karl Anthony Towns cannot possibly be playing worse. He was 0 for 8 from 3. He's 3 for 22 in this series.
I love that he kept shooting though.
Yeah.
He was just like, next one's going in. That's
some of them.
cat.
Some of them. It's not like he was like, yeah, there's just kind of some bounces aren't going my way. It's like, no, dude. Some of them look really, really bad.
Very bad.
One of them looked like he was throwing a medicine ball.
But he's got so much confidence. I yearn to have confidence in anything the way that Karl Anthony Towns has confidence in his 3-point shot.
Yes.
Like watching him just next one's going in, next one's going in. And yeah, Anthony Edwards seemed like he was panicking a little bit in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I think he had like 2 or 3 turnovers in the last 5 minutes of the game. He would just throw the ball away because he was trying to make an ill-advised pass at the last second because their offense looks completely disjointed and nothing like what we've seen from them. They don't know what to do offensively at the end of games. If you just take away those last 5 minutes of the game, they're playing really good against the Mavericks.
So yeah,
except for Karl Anthony Towns' shot making.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns shot making and Rudy Gobert also just I don't think I feel bad for Rudy Gobert, but it's getting very close because every year he wins the Defensive Player of the Year, and then every year he gets in the playoffs and he gets completely like roasted, cooked. So this is the craziest thing. On Friday night, you had the one-on-one with Luka who hits the game-winning shot. Incredible play. Luka is so good, he'll cook anyone. So, like, that one, I'm like, all right, you know what? Like, Luka is that good. That's not Rudy Gobert in space against Luka Doncic is just a huge mismatch. That's not fully on Rudy. Like, they have to figure out a way to not have that be a switch or at least double team, get the ball out of his hands. I thought the worst thing for Rudy Gobert, I don't know if you guys noticed this, on Sunday night, like maybe 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter, Jaden Hardy had the ball and tried to pass it back to Luka at the top of the key, and Luka waved him off because Jaden Hardy had a one-on-one in space with Rudy and then got him on like a bad foul jumping up. But Luka was literally like, no, you take it. It's fine. Whatever's going to happen here is going to work because it's Rudy Gobert against a shiftier guy in space. And that was like, man, this sucks for him.
I've noticed this, though. A lot of players really like to go after Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Being the Defensive Player of the Year, there's a line out the door of guys that are just like, I want to embarrass him. I want to take him. I want to emasculate Rudy Gobert on national television. Then I want to celebrate in his face.
Well,
I can't name another Defensive Player of the Year that's ever had that giant target on you. Normally, if it's a Defensive Player of the Year, you're like, well, let's try to figure out a way to avoid him if at all possible.
Well, he's so good at rim protecting, but when you get him away from the basket, and this has happened time and time again with him in the playoffs, getting him in pick and rolls and then just exposing him, and it just keeps happening. And here we are, and it's like the big three, shout out Cat, of the Timberwolves have completely let them down. Naz Reid, if you could build the whole plane out of Naz Reid, the Wolves would be in the finals.
Give me every starting player should be your sixth man.
Yeah.
And then, yes, I agree. Naz Reid plays so fucking hard. I love watching him.
It's true. It does feel like one of those stories where, hey, the Wolves, the moment was too big for them in this. Like, they had a franchise altering win in Game 7 against the Nuggets, and that series like propels them to being a serious title contender going forward. But this series and Anthony Edwards and everything that's come along with these playoffs, it kind of got ahead of them.
Ant and Cat, I don't think they can play worse. And I think that with Lively out, he's probably going to be out, I would imagine. When he got hit, and they said that's a neck sprain, that's like some NFL math
and he's
going
their
on right there.
Best player plus minus in this series.
Yeah,
in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to do the announcer thing where they say we don't want to speculate on injuries, and then they go ahead and they speculate on injuries.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a neck sprain.
Yeah.
I feel like he might be out for this next game. And if he is, again, I don't think that Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns can play worse. They can't shoot worse than they've been shooting. And this goes back, it was like Game 7, I think, or Game 6 against the Nuggets. Neither one of them have been like on their AA game for a while.
Well,
but I feel like something's going to give, and the Timberwolves have been leading, I think, in every fourth quarter of this game or of this series. I feel like it's not going to be a sweep.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's been every game, it's been a close series, but the Mavericks have better players in Luka and Kyrie who are absolute killers. The Luka stare down, that's when a series is over. He's done it. And whenever he wins these series, he just goes right up next to the guy and just kind of looks at him. He did that to Anthony Edwards on Sunday night. But here are the stats. So the Mavs are plus 13 in the series. So they're like, that's to be up 3-0 and have the difference be 13 points is pretty crazy. That means it's tight. In the fourth quarter, so this is from Seth Partnow, semi-contested shots, which means a defender's within 4 and 6 feet of space. The league average is 33% on those shots. Luka and Kyrie are 7 for 9. The rest of all of Minnesota, 6 guys are 3 for 13. That's the difference. Mm-hmm. They have killers who in the fourth quarter, like the fourth quarter on Sunday night, the Mavs scored 29 points. 21 of them were Luka and Kyrie. 6 of them were Luka and Kyrie assists, and then there was 2 points. I think it was a Daniel Gafford tip-in. So, like, that's it. The fourth quarter comes around, and they just take over the game, and whether it's them shooting, they're going my turn, your turn, or them, like that Luka lob to finish the game, it's just they're so much better, and they know what these big moments are, and they are coming through, whereas the Timberwolves are not.
And the pick and roll is a big problem for the T-Wolves, too.
Yeah.
Big problem.
Yeah.
They are not – I don't know what their switching scheme is, but it's not working, and I don't think that they've changed it.
Yeah, they can't. They just can't. Luka is just out of this world. He just he sees the game so well. If you double team him, he'll get the ball. He'll make the correct pass. If you try to show a fake double team, he'll make the right move. His footwork, everything. Sorry, Hank, this is glazing. He's shaking.
He's making notes.
He's making notes. This tweet. Are you making notes?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. This one comes from Andrew Bailey. That was a crazy stat. Luka has played his 43rd career playoff game on Sunday. He has 1,336 points, 400 rebounds, and 355 assists in his first 43 career playoff games. No one else has those 3 totals in their first 43 playoff games. And if you took away 236 points, so made it 1,100 points, you take away 100 rebounds to make it 300 rebounds and 300 assists. The list is just Luka, LeBron, Oscar Robertson. So you have to basically take away so much, like 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists. Mm-hmm. And then finally, there are 2 other guys, LeBron James, ever heard of him, and Oscar Robertson, who join his category of their first 43 playoff games and how good he's been.
I feel like we also need to go back and watch some tape of Oscar Robertson because
triple-double.
He's Mr. Triple-double. And he's in all these stats.
Yeah.
He's always the guy in these stats. It's like, okay, there's 2 guys from one guy from the 90s, 2 guys from the 2000s, 2 guys from the 2010s, and then there's Oscar.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to go watch some Oscar shit.
Yeah, we should watch some Oscar. But it's crazy what Luka has done, and he's just ascending to be one of, if not the best players in the NBA.
Yeah, and him when he screams at you, he really wants you to die.
And he's annoying. I'll back anyone up who says that he's annoying with how much he complains to refs. I will not disagree. I just like watching him play basketball. Like that fadeaway he had, where his footwork was just it's so perfect, and even that Rudy Gobert, that step back, where it's like he knew he had him, and there was just nothing Rudy could do, and he had the perfect got him off balance, and then that 2-step back. It's fun to watch. Sorry, Hank.
No, it is. He's a great player.
Tell you what, Kevin Love would have put the clamps on him. Kevin Love, that was like pretty much the exact same scenario he had against Steph Curry.
Yeah, true.
Kevin Love, better defender than Rudy Gobert. Write it down.
So are you worried, Hank?
No, I'm excited. He's good. I think the Celtics are a better team. Great defense. Just as much star power.
Okay.
Just as much? Wait, but we got Kyrie and we got Luka.
Yeah,
Two
we
stars.
have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
You think they're equals?
Yeah,
I think the supporting cast in Boston, you could talk me into saying that they have an advantage with the supporting cast. Although Dallas is, I know what you're about to say.
I mean,
I know what you're about to say. I think
They don't have the experience.
PJ Washington has hit 100 big shot corner threes in the fourth quarter in these playoffs. It's every single time. It's like, PJ Washington's there and he's going to just fucking be so wet from the corner.
You're forgetting about KP though. Kristaps.
I know. I think it's gonna be incredible finals. It's got everything you want. Star power, like storylines, the Kyrie versus Boston. It's gonna be whoever comes out of this, Tatum or
Immortality's
Luka,
on the line.
Yeah.
Immortality, Hank. Never gonna die.
No, you win a finals. That banners hang forever.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Max, did you think that the glazing was fair?
Yeah, I mean, the Mavs have the best player on.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
what's
swear to
going
God,
on
he
with me.
smoked a 6.
I smoked no cigs.
He's got
But the Mavs have the best player on the court, and they
sympathy
probably
throat.
have the second best player on the court. And you say that the Mavs don't have experience. Well, the Mavs have someone who have actually won a finals.
Yeah, they have one player who's been in the finals.
Well, who's won the finals.
Okay. Finals experience.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was stated.
Stated.
Noted.
Also, was Markieff Morris not on one of those Cleveland teams? No.
Drew Holiday may have won.
Drew Holiday
yeah,
definitely
Drew Holiday,
has.
yes.
Drew
Yeah, he did.
Holiday definitely
He
has.
was a very big part of that
yes,
championship.
he 100%.
Yeah, but Kyrie.
Markieff Morris was on the Lakers bubble team, which you guys have always said is a real title.
No.
Nope. Okay, so
Fake news.
Yeah, Drew Holiday definitely counts big time as a guy who's won something big.
Good point, though, Max.
Max, you were supposed to get in this and give us something good, and then you just owned yourself.
But Kyrie's better.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
He's better.
Who's he better than?
Than
Tatum?
Drew Holiday.
Oh, than Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Okay, because I
They're-
don't think he's better than Tatum. But
they're
he has been
champions.
playing
No.
out of his mind.
Their championship
don't know.
experience supersedes the Celtics because their championship guy is better.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct.
I want to make sure the numbers are right here.
So their number 2 guy on a championship team is better than the Bucks' number 2 guy.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bucks' number 3 guy on that championship team, Chris Middleton, was pretty good.
And Pat Connaughton.
And Pat Connaughton. Don't forget Pat Connaughton.
Kevin Love.
Delly? No, Delly wasn't on that team. But Delly would have been the number 2.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
Is Delly not on that team?
I don't think he was on the Bucks team, but he was on the Cleveland
Yeah.
team that
Yeah.
won a championship.
He was the number 2 on that team.
He was number 2 on
He
that
was the number 2
No,
on that team.
It was like 2 Batmans. You had Australian Batman and then kid from Cleveland Batman.
Oh, all right. I'm excited. So you think the Wolves are going to win a game?
I may put a little future on the Wolves to be the first team to come back.
And, well, Anthony Edwards did say, which I don't know if I agree with. I love his confidence. He is a breath of fresh air and confidence, and very vocal about it. But him saying after the game, I still don't feel like they can beat us, bro. We haven't all been clicking at one time, one game. I mean, the Mavs have proven they can beat them.
But I like the confidence, though.
I still don't think they can beat us,
They need to
bro.
prove that. Well, it's just how many games is series, Big Cat?
It is true. He said, well, we're here now.
First of 4.
What are we going to do?
All right, Timberwolves plus 1,000.
Karl Anthony Towns probably just giggled.
They just can't be any worse. And the thing is, they're not playing don't get me wrong, they're not playing good, but they're still building leads into the fourth quarter.
And
I feel like with Lively out, that's a big factor. That is a big.
But he was out for the majority of that game.
Yeah, they played until the last 3 minutes of the game. They played pretty good.
But that's when you have Luka and Kyrie.
That's when you have. So
and
now
you don't have Luka and Kyrie on the other team.
Now you got to build a little bit of a lead.
Yeah,
and let Luka and Kyrie do their thing, and hopefully it won't affect. I'm just gonna sprinkle it.
Okay. All right. Well, Hank, I'm excited. Was that an okay amount of glazing that was nothing to do with the Celtics? Jason Tatum's a very good player. Jaylen Brown's a very good player. Drew Holiday's a very good player. Derek White, friend of the program.
Amazing player.
Amazing player.
Clutch. Yeah, that was
good?
fun.
You okay?
Yeah.
So I don't want you to get your feelings hurt.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm excited to see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, forever from now. Should we talk a little hockey memes? You're in trouble.
The Rangers.
The Rangers.
Yeah, the Panthers blow.
2 overtime wins in a row. Team of destiny?
Yeah, the Rangers feel like they might be. Like the Rangers, New York should be showing the same enthusiasm to the Rangers that they were showing to the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rangers are the real deal.
And they got their overtime goal, nice dirty overtime goal to win Game 3. You got to be worried. Although the Stars look awesome.
Well, the Rangers didn't even play that well.
Yeah,
they won that game.
Yeah, but
so
the Stars do look awesome.
Yep.
Stars. The Stars were down 2-0 in a blink of an eye tonight, and it's like, nope. Now it's 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that in Game 2 as well, where they were down early, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, McDavid's going to have some answering to do.
Wow.
We need Rangers Oilers though for the vibes.
Rangers Oilers would be great. Also, are you a little worried that if the Mavs and the Stars were in, that people would say Titletown?
They'd have to win.
I would love that. I would actually love
well, you don't have to win to claim Titletown. Max taught us that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love nothing more. My wet dream is if we get the Stars win the Stanley Cup and we have the Rangers as the MLB champions and we have the Mavericks as the NBA champions and then the Cowboys go out there and they lose in the first round of the playoffs.
And it's all anyone cares about. I know
would...
that obviously Dallas fans, you do care. You're passionate about all your sports teams, but you'd give it all up for a Cowboys Super Bowl.
Yeah, and for all those in America besides Cowboys fans, we're going to come.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to come if that
we're
happens.
coming. We're coming when that happens. Big time. Might go to the dual parade.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be sick.
We might, when that happens, we might have to raise banners of all the Dallas championships in here.
Yeah.
And then just have one empty spot.
Titletown minus the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones' worst nightmare.
It was at Arlington. They'll just disassociate from the Cowboys. They should be the Arlington Cowboys.
Do you think he's definitely rooting against them, right?
I think in his heart of hearts, he has to be.
Like deep down, he's got to be like, this cannot happen.
I just said he has a heart. That was a mistake. In his soul, no, that's not good. In the back, the brainstem, the part that makes you like mad or horny, that's the part where Jerry Jones is like, I hope they lose.
In the shoe with cum in it.
In the shoe, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
His
God.
cum shoe.
I really.
He's a real cum shoe, that Jerry Jones.
Also, the Dallas Wings, they went to the WNBA Finals. They
Oh.
lost the Vegas Aces, so a lot of championship experience in terms of making runs.
Oh. The WNBA's in trouble.
Are they in trouble? Why?
Because I think that Caitlin Clark is adding so many new fans, and there's a lot of fans that are just taking the fun out of sports.
Yeah.
Because everything that happens in the WNBA now has to be a fucking bigger cultural talking point.
That's what
It's
we're
like, hey, it's fucking sports. Shut the fuck up.
That's what we were saying on Friday. It's
Yeah.
like there's 7 think pieces after every game she plays.
Correct.
And I actually feel bad for Caitlin Clark.
And it's
I
going.
really do, because what's happening is there's no way that she can tune out all this stuff. She's all that's being talked about in terms of the WNBA. She's probably uncomfortable with that because she's like, I'm a rookie. I haven't done anything in the NBA yet. I want to have a successful career in the WNBA. And it's going to be a big, big distraction if every time I go out there and I lose a game, then I've got 7 people on slate.com writing about why Caitlin Clark is problematic for the league and how the league has a marketing problem. I feel bad for her. I miss the days when Greg Doyle was just being a sexual harassment creep on her.
Those were the good old days. I wish we knew it was the good old days when it was the good old days. But it's spread to everywhere in the WNBA because it's with new fans come like new opinions, and the new opinions are not about sports anymore because they came like with Caitlin Clark. Did you see the Alyssa Thomas foul on Angel Reese? And I don't know if it was a Sky game. This person had 5,000 retweets. I was just like, what is going on? She said, unpopular opinion, Alyssa Thomas throwing Angel Reese down on the court is exactly how older black women treat younger black women in many industries, both professional and personal. It's not tough love, it's envy.
Stay out of sports.
It was a hard foul.
You shouldn't watch
Relax.
sports. Please stop watching sports.
This is not fun anymore.
Listen, we love sports. We know it's stupid as shit, but we love it. Please don't ruin this for us.
I saw my brain just started to just be paralyzed. I rub my head, and I don't get migraines, but I got a migraine in that moment.
Self-correction, Dallas Wings lost in the semis last year.
Well, I don't know if you could tell I didn't care.
Okay.
You could have told me they won it, and I would have been like, okay.
So Angel Reese did have a tweet alluding to Caitlin Clark the other night. Did you see this?
Yes, of course I saw it.
She said
she deleted it.
it was after they won, and that's on getting a win in a packed arena, not just because of one player on our charter flight.
Yeah.
Kiss emoji, #Skytown.
Ugh.
Don't delete that. Why'd she delete it?
It's just not becoming fun anymore.
But if she leaves that up, then she's talking shit, and she's like, yeah, I'm talking shit about Caitlin Clark. It's a good rivalry. It's a continuation of the rivalry they had in college. That's good for the league. If you're going to talk shit, that's fine. You guys are going to play each other again, and then you're going to have, somebody else is going to win. They're going to talk shit back to you. Yeah. That's what sports should be about. But instead, now she deleted it because she's afraid of like all the other like outrage going on around the Caitlin Clark narrative.
Correct.
Yeah. If I was Caitlin Clark, I'd retire.
Yeah.
I'd be like, listen,
I'd go to the big three.
I don't mind getting, hard fouled. I don't mind getting hit in the face. I don't mind getting knocked down. I don't mind, not making that much money to play in a professional sports league. But I'm just sick of all you losers writing columns about it.
Right. Just let me play basketball.
Yeah.
She should actually reverse it and be like, hey, can you guys just shut up and let me dribble?
Yeah. You know what she should say? She should say, shut up and scribble.
Yeah.
To the fucking journos that are taking all the fun out of it.
Little scribble.
Shut up and scribble.
Little scribble scrabble.
Yeah.
My daughter always like, hey, can I do some scribble scrabble? I'm like, sure. Hand her a pen. Literally, that's all it is. She just scribbles. Nothing. Just scribbling.
It sounds like you're disappointed.
For like a half hour. Well, yeah, it'd be nice if she could just like draw me or something.
Yeah.
Just scribble scrabble. She says like, I'm scribble scrabbling. It's like, okay. That's what Greg Doyle's doing right now.
Scribbling.
Sitting by himself.
Imagine the takes,
scribble scrabbling.
The takes that man is cooking up in his brain with all this time to just think.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Max?
So the Rangers game.
It's all one song.
Yeah, so the Rangers.
So the Rangers game.
The Rangers they're a very good hockey team.
That was quite a tangent. Memes, you are in hell.
I thought you guys were gonna blow right by it.
Also, Memes' new thing is he just does all caps. So he'll just tweet it and be all caps to be like, look, I'm excited for the Rangers, but it's all caps in the most monotone, like Rangers win in overtime, but it's all caps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Memes has been on that shit for a while.
Oh yeah, but
every postseason.
All caps is a new part that he's doing where he's like trying to get people off the scent. Like, hey, I'm not editorializing it.
Yeah.
But it's just the same nothing, but just all caps.
So it's by far Memes' least favorite part of his job, and that includes cleaning up turtle shit. Is having to post a
he loves his little Mr.
He
Pan.
does love that, but he hates more than anything having to post Rangers highlights.
Memes, speaking of which, how mad were you at me on Sunday when I tweeted at you, hey, are we covering the Rangers game when they went up like what'd they go up 4-2?
Yeah, I was pretty fired up about it.
Yeah, and he hadn't tweeted anything. And I just tweeted him, I was like, hey, are we covering the Rangers game right now?
I think when they went up 2-1, you tweeted it.
Yeah, you just weren't going to cover them?
No, I was covering them.
Not until that point.
I think I only tweeted out Rangers goals.
Oh, wow. Reverse it on them. You're trying to jinx or something.
No, they were playing really good. Their goalie's really good. The Panthers just can't make a fucking shot. They had 108 shots, and they couldn't get 5 in.
Starkin.
That's pretty crazy.
108.
If they win the Stanley
How
Cup.
many on goal?
43 to 48, one of those numbers.
If the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, not only should we send Memes to the parade to cover it, we should also hang a banner just over his head in that glass room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
We should also
Be a
put
nice
Hank's
touch.
banner in there right above Max if the Celtics win.
Yeah, that'd be a nice touch. Just that will be our trophy case in there. The booth is the Canyon of Heroes in the booth.
I like that.
Yeah, you like that? You like that? Max, by the way, is out for blood in this NBA Finals.
Yeah, which is honestly a good thing. Like, hop on board the Mavericks train.
I just want to know how you're going to hurt Luka in the second game of the series.
Why do you say that, Max?
Oh, because that's how every series has gone for the Celtics. That's why. And Hank just doesn't talk about it.
Yeah, you don't talk about that.
I mean, we've talked about it every time. You play who's
Butler.
on the floor in front of you.
I mean, you were talking about how it was a hard-fought game against the Pacers and how they were a really good team, and then you just didn't say that Tyrese Halliburton didn't play the last 2 games.
That's a good point. Big Cat, I have a question
Both those
for
things
you.
can be true.
If you're a detective and a woman's been married 5 times and all 4 of her ex-husbands have been murdered mysteriously.
Is this the Tiger King lady?
Yeah, it's like Carol Baskin.
Okay, yeah.
So now we're looking at the Celtics, and we've got Jimmy Butler.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the entire New York Knicks. Or excuse me, the Celtics did not play them. I'm sorry. The
You're
Sixers.
thinking of Donovan Mitchell?
I'm thinking
Didn't make it.
I'm thinking about Donovan Mitchell, who got very hurt.
And Jared Allen.
Jared Allen got hurt, and now I'm thinking of Tyrese Halliburton on the Pacers. There's one common
And
thread
Rick
there.
Carlisle's brain.
Yeah, his brain.
Brain was very hurt.
Again, I hope I don't want Luka to get hurt. I'm not rooting for injuries. I want to beat the Mavs.
You tried to injure
Full
T.J.
strength.
McConnell tonight, too.
It is funny because we started
even
this
a
whole
flagrant.
playoffs when you were clearly rooting for the Nuggets to get hurt. So it is full circle.
I have never once
kind of full
said
circle.
anything about rooting for injuries. Never will.
I'm going to side with Hank that you can't apologize for other teams getting injured.
Yeah, but it's fun to ask him.
Yeah, you can't apologize for that.
No, fuck no.
But if you were, would you?
No.
If you could apologize, would you?
Absolutely not.
Well, Hank, you said numerous times that Luka is a much better player than Kyrie Irving, right? You have Luka ranked well ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Which player would you rather see get injured on the Mavericks?
Neither.
Luka or Kyrie because of the lucky factor.
Neither.
What if it was his lucky stomping foot that got
I want to beat them full strength.
Okay. Do we have anything else before we get to Hot Seat Cool Throne? There's a lot of sports stuff. Oh, shout out the Indy 500. It happened. Wouldn't it be crazy, PFT, if you were someone who, let's say, quote unquote, has shit for brains, watched last year's Indy 500 for a solid like 20 minutes, not realizing it was in rain delay? Wouldn't that be crazy?
We did that one time with the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, dude, I watched it for 20 minutes, kind of zoning out. And then I saw that like an hour and a half later, like the rain is cleared. We're about to start the race.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I was rooting for it too. I bet it, and I was like, "Oh man, my guy's in 7th. This is pretty good."
There's no way to know that's last year's race. It's the same cars going around the same circle.
Oh,
It's not even a circle.
I felt really dumb on that
The Indy
one.
fans will get mad at me for saying it's a circle. Going around the same track.
Only
Same cars.
only 200 laps though. Mickey
Asterisk.
Mouse.
Yeah.
Asterisk. Big time asterisk. Okay, let's do Hot Seat Cool Throw because I think we have a lot of other sports topics to talk about, and then we'll get to our great interview with Danny Ainge. Hot Seat Cool Throw is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Did you know that you can get tickets to a baseball game? Let's say Cubs. Cubs are around this week. Let's see. Can you pull up the Cubs tickets for me?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're playing the Reds this week. With Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, you can find tickets to concerts, sports, anything out there, comedy, theater, all of it at Game Time. So look, Friday, $22. Little Friday 120 game.
Not bad.
Nothing better. Bleachers. Let me see the bleachers. Go buy a bleacher seat on Friday. $70. That's a great deal. With Game Time, you can get great deals because they have flash deals for sudden discounts, zone deals for when you're feeling flexible, and their lowest price guaranteed means that if you can find the same seats for less anywhere else, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats with up to 60% off your favorite events. What are you waiting for? I'm going to go to a Cubs game this weekend. That's a fact. With Game Time, take the guesswork out. Buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code PMT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And Hot Seat Cool Throne is brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Shout out to the people who are ride or die fans despite multiple losses or bad draft picks. Choosing a chill mindset makes the day-to-day better. Life's too short to get worked up over small stuff. Choose chill and then reach for Coors Light instead. I saw a bunch of people tweeting us their ice-cold Coors Light over the holiday weekend, and it was awesome. Had a couple Coors Light on Saturday when it was the perfect weather day in Chicago. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light's mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. I'm going to say right now, it's the drink of the summer. Coors Light is the drink of the summer. Those coolers, that one guy who had the cooler packed, and it was Coors Light, and they were Blue Mountains, and it was a beautiful long weekend, and you're like, summer has officially arrived. The drink of the summer, Coors Light, is officially here. So when you choose chill out, life gets better. Choose chill and then reach for Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. My favorite beer in the whole world, the coldest beer in the whole world. The first Coors Light goes down so easy when it's hot out, and you got that cold Blue Mountains on the cans or bottles. CoorsLight.com/take, or get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/take. Hot seat, cool throne. Hank.
My hot seat is Rafa.
Yeah.
End of an era.
The
King of clay.
Yeah, not anymore.
Went down. People are saying it's probably his last one.
First round, right?
First round.
He got screwed on the draw.
Yeah.
Oh,
He played
that's
Zverev.
now
loser
we're
talk.
making
That's
excuses.
loser talk. He lost in the first round.
Yeah, it's Zverev. 4 seed.
If Djokovic lost in the first round, you would have been like, kick him out of the country. He's not vaxxed.
Well, that's what happened at the Aussie Open.
Yeah, I know. Point me.
Joker was
I'm up 15-love right now, Jake.
Okay. Joker was watching Rafa because he appreciates greatness.
Is he playing in the French Open?
Yes.
So who cares? He fucking had a day off. 30-love, me.
No.
What are you talking about?
Paul.
Everyone, when they play like tournament games, the team goes and watches after the game or before the game. They watch who they're playing.
Depends.
Yeah.
Probably scouting.
He's there. It would be cool if he flew in just to see it. No, he was just hanging out. It's like, I'll go watch Rafa.
No, he was probably scouting Sverd.
Zverev. Yeah, of course he was.
Yeah,
30 love me.
Okay.
Any other shots you want me to hit back at you? Forehand, backhand?
112
slice?
and 4 is his French Open record.
Okay, and what is he lately? Oh, what's his last one?
0-1.
40 love me. This tennis shit is easy.
I do feel like if he doesn't have Clay anymore,
Yeah.
it can't be. He can't be long for this.
Here,
No, that is a crazy record. What is it?
112 and 4.
Oof, that's nuts.
It's insane.
How can you be that
insane.
good on that surface?
Who did he lose to in? So how many French Opens has he won?
I think around a dozen.
And who has he lost to in the finals before?
Was it Joker? I don't
No,
know.
I'm asking. No, I honestly don't know. I know this was a first round loss.
14 French Opens.
And who did he lose to? Anyone? Because like he obviously is the king of the clay. That's not up for discussion. But did he ever lose in the finals, or was it always like upsets in the first round?
Stand by.
Okay, you're looking
Okay.
up.
Joker in 2015
what was that?
quarterfinals.
Joker.
Joker 2015 quarterfinals.
Game me. That was easy. Game point.
In 2016, he had to withdraw before his third round match.
Okay.
Joker semifinals
whoops.
2021.
Whoops.
And then Zverev today. Straight sets.
Jake, there's no way that you did not know what Big Cat was setting
No,
up for that.
I mean,
Of course I knew. Game me. You didn't even score a point. You got loved.
Okay, but
You got
a game
loved
is
up.
Very,
I
a game is
loved
a very
you up.
small portion of the set.
Oh, you want to do a
and the
set?
match
You want to do a
and
set?
the
How much time
career.
we got?
Do an entire podcast.
Just be scoring points. No, it actually is insane.
Yeah.
112 and 4 is crazy. Is that all you had, Hank? Just that he lost?
Yeah.
Kind of a hater move.
End of an era. Hot seat.
Yeah, true.
I had him on the cool throne.
Is he done?
For losing?
No, not officially.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's done if you lose in the first round of the French Open.
But a bad draw.
Bad draw.
That's a loser.
Bad draw might be the biggest loser talk ever.
Everyone was saying all
Yeah.
tennis.
I would never lose in the first round.
Never.
Too much pride.
My other hot seat is Max. He's performing this weekend with Pup Punk. He's nervous about it. He's been pacing around the office.
Yeah.
Joe's on Weed, one of my favorite places in all of Chicago.
Very excited about that.
I'm excited for a home crowd concert, Pup Punk.
Yes. There's a bunch of people from Barstool are going out there, and it's going to be a blast. These are always like one of the most fun times that we have as a company. And Max is singing a song. I'm not going to say what song he's singing.
Yeah. I'm nervous. Memorizing
What's
stuff's
the song?
scary.
He's got a good voice.
What's the song?
I don't know.
No, but it'll be good. It'll be good for publicity.
Some people have said that Max looks like Fat Dave Grohl.
Some people have said that.
So what are we gonna do?
Dave Roll is what
Dave
they're calling
Roll.
So what are we gonna do?
it. So he might be doing. Max would sing for the Food Fighters.
The Food Fighters.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. It is. I mean, not to glaze PFT. I'm gonna glaze him because I love him. He's really fucking good at guitar, and their band is really good. So it's like a very fun night out. So if you want live music, and it's not that expensive.
It's not that expensive.
Right.
If you buy tickets
and Joe's on Weed is awesome.
Joe's on Weed's a great place. Roan is an awesome front man. Roan kicks ass at everything that he does. He's a very good front man for a band. We got Robbie on bass, Frankie on drums, who's also gonna be singing. Frankie's got some pipes on.
Yeah, he does.
He's a good singer.
Yeah.
And then we got Nick Hamilton on keyboards, guitars, and then Caroline's also singing.
Love
It's
it.
gonna be a good time. Come out to Joe's on Weed.
Hell yes. Friday night.
Good cool throwing, Hank.
Thank you. That was my hot seat.
Max.
Oh, Hot Seat Max.
What song?
My cool throne is
Spoil it.
No, just people get excited about it.
my cool throne is Mark Davis.
Monkey Wrench.
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
good call. Yeah, Mark Davis.
A report came out that he got his 27-year-old girlfriend pregnant, but then she came out on Instagram and said, the reports of Mark Davis being the father of my child are wildly untrue. So,
Oh.
How is this cool throwing Mark Davis?
I don't think you want to be a new father at 70.
No, I think that's exactly when you want to be a new dad.
Don't think you want a woman being so repulsed that she has to issue a press release being like, I sat next to him at a concert or a football game once. He is not the father of my child.
Is that all we had to go on? Was that there was
Well,
there
Dove.
was a
I mean,
screenshot?
Dove's been getting into some weird, like breaking news. Like I don't know if he actually broke it. If someone else broke it, and then he probably that's probably exactly how it went.
Yeah, no, Dove.
Yeah. But someone just saw she posted, "I'm pregnant" announcement, and then they're like, "Oh, she was at a Raiders game with Mark Davis 2 years ago. Must be Mark Davis."
So
I was
anybody
pictured sitting next to him in a game in 2022 and have endured false rumors of romantic relationships since. I was just a guest sitting in the owner's box with other friends.
Yeah, so that's where I feel like it sucks to be Mark Davis that this woman's like, ew, no, everyone stop saying this. I just saw him once.
Yeah, Mark Davis was.
She's like basically, she's basically publicly made an announcement of like friend zone.
He got a nice little boost. I think that just having people assume that he was the father was good for him. He's probably relishing in that.
Right. So I don't know. I kind of feel bad for Mark Davis in this one.
All right, so hot seat.
Yeah, because you don't. I mean, think about it. That is to be like, we're not dating.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Right.
That's basically what she said.
Like he would make a great father, just not for me.
Yeah,
not for my child.
He'll make some woman very, very lucky one day.
It would have rocked if he was a 7-year-old dad, just because he'd have a kid and it'd come out right with a bowl cut.
Yeah, be
like
cute little
P.F.
baby.
Chang's wristband.
It would have
be heir apparent to the Raiders.
The way I wish she should have done this would be if she said, "That's not his baby. We just did it in the butt."
Yeah,
that's
right.
what she should have said.
Only mouth stuff.
What you know about that? Hey?
Only mouth stuff. That would have been nice for Mark Davis. Instead, it was just the ew, no way.
Yeah.
I never.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad billionaires can't even get laid anymore.
Seriously. Well, you know what? Mark Davis, let us interview on Pardon My Take, and we'll go out on the town, and we'll be your wingman.
Yeah, we'll find you a nice girl.
We'll talk you up. We'll talk you up so crazy.
My boy over there thinks you're cute. It's literally Mark Davis.
See my boy over there
in a white suit.
Yeah, actually, it's actually kind of a pretty popular haircut right now. Mark Davis, Jeff Nadeau. It's kind of actually hot on the internet.
They called that the Caesar back in the day because he's the most powerful person in the world.
See my boy over there? He owns the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his mom does, but he kind of does.
But his dad used to own the Raiders, and his dad was a hell of a guy.
See my boy over there? He's so confident. He wears all white while eating buffalo wings.
See my guy? Look how good he looks now that he's no longer wearing the propeller hat beanie.
Oh man, yeah. See my boy over there? He drives a conversion van. Bet you'd never guess that. No, actually, I would. All right, yeah. All right, Mark Davis, we got you, bro.
My boy over there, he can drink 7 sweet teas at PF Chang's before the appetizers come out.
Yeah, if you're asking,
that's a fact.
If you're asking if the carpet matches the drapes, they do.
You ever
He's got a bowl cut for his penis.
You ever seen a dick with freckles on it before?
Now you have. All right, yeah, we got this.
Boy.
We got this. All right, your hot seat, Cool Throne.
My hot seat is complaining about umpires.
Yeah.
Because the MLB world lost a real one today. Angel Hernandez. Angel got his wings.
I'm sad about this.
He's not dead. He's retiring. Angel Hernandez, Major League Baseball umpire, much, much better human being.
Yeah.
Even better of a human being than he is as an umpire. Way better. So he retired today.
And probably not a great human being.
Much, much better. Way better. He retired kind of abruptly. And he said, starting with my first Major League game in 1991. That's a long-ass time.
Yeah, that is.
His eyes can't be, well, they're definitely not good anymore. I have had the very good experience of living out my childhood dream of umpiring the major leagues. I treasured the camaraderie of my colleagues and the friendships I've made along the way. I've decided that I want to spend more time with my family. So it sounds like this is his decision that he's leaving to spend more time with his family all of a sudden in the middle of Major League Baseball season. That happens all the time.
Yeah. I'm going to miss him.
Of course. Of course you're going to miss him.
You can't have guys like this. Like, we need at least a couple diva umps out there. We lost Joe West. Now we lose Angel Hernandez. It was always good for just, having a moment where, like, can you believe Angel Hernandez did this?
Yeah. It felt like Major League Baseball media really hated him, but outside the MLB tight-knit circle, it's like you can appreciate art.
Yeah,
and
right. How ridiculously bad he is.
Angel Hernandez took bad umpiring to an art that we haven't seen before. I don't know if we'll see it again, but yeah, it's always good. It's always good to have one guy like that. You can't have 2 or 3 guys like that in the game at the same time. It's like when Joey Crawford retired, next man up, Scott Foster.
Right.
New guy. So who's next up? Who's the next umpire that we got to hate?
Find someone.
I feel like a lot of people don't like CB Buckner.
Okay, great.
Okay, all right,
Done.
Sam. Yeah, fuck
Done.
Stevie Buckner.
You're on the
I
list.
hate him.
CB.
Oh, CB.
Yeah.
CB Buckner.
Yeah.
That's a 10-4.
Yeah. Angel Hernandez was so bad, but again, if you're gonna be bad, just be the worst.
Yeah.
And he was the worst
By far.
which is I tip my hat. If you're like you don't want to be bad in a mix of other bad guys. You want everyone to be like Angel Hernandez. That guy's the worst.
Yep. Fact. My cool throne is misogynistic NFL kickers. So former Jaguars kicker Brandon McManus got accused of groping 2 flight attendants on the team chartered flight from Jacksonville to England to go play their London game last year. And apparently he was like throwing money at him, making them dance like strippers on the team plane.
Ooh.
This seems like it would have been an Urban Meyer culture type move. Maybe it just a little bit left over from that. I actually know Urban would have missed the flight. He would have stayed home and found some strange on his own.
I got a question. You said
Former Jaguars.
former Jaguars.
Yeah,
Who
correct.
does he play for now?
Former Jaguars kicker.
Who does he play for now?
Former Jaguars kicker. He used to.
Jake, who does he play for now?
When these actions occurred, he was a member of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
But he got signed by a team after doing this?
Well, no, the accusations just came to light right now. So whatever team signed him is doing a full, thorough investigation into these allegations. And you can rest assured they'll leave no stone unturned because whatever team that has him is the type of organization that does not tolerate that sort of thing.
He is the kicker of the Washington Commanders.
Oh,
Former Jaguars kicker.
Dang.
Is how he's being labeled. I'm going to continue to refer to him as such. We'll see where the investigation takes us. If it's true, he should be cut. And I think he will be cut if it's true.
He's got to be the only commander ever who's like, man, I wish Dan Snyder was still the owner.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if he was
Like, he just wrong. You know the whole like, I was born in the wrong era?
Yeah.
Brandon McManus signed with the Commanders in the wrong era by a year.
He would have been kicker for life.
So PFT, is your
Jersey.
team about to have an open position for your position?
I retired from kicking, Jake. I retired.
But this is a dream opportunity potentially.
If they ask me to camp, I will attend.
I also feel like that's not a dream opportunity because, like, what if you lost a game for them?
I would actually
That would suck.
I would rather be a kicker on the Cowboys than on the Commanders because then I could just lose games.
Right. Like you'd have a double whammy if you missed the kick. Like, oh, not only did I lose, but my team lost, and now I have to podcast about it.
If they're looking for some camp fodder for, just some live bodies to bring out during training camp, I will kick. But he was really happy about this. Probably Harrison Butker. Actually, I bet you there's a lot of people saying, why don't you keep that same energy? No one's talking about Brandon McManus. Everyone talked about Harrison Butker. Let those people know on the record we are talking about Brandon McManus.
Right.
Although Harrison Butker would probably be like, well, if they had just been home with a family and not working as a flight attendant, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been in a room with a woman.
Yeah, correct. Yes.
That isn't his wife.
Yeah.
Old Mike Pence.
Agreed.
Okay, good hot seat, cool throne. My hot seat is NBA players because Draymond Green says that the NBA does not set up NBA players to retire with wealth.
Okay.
Draymond Green made $177 million so far. Now, he said it was because taxes, which everyone pays, but also the fine system is basically trying to keep NBA players poor.
Did Draymond Green, did he accrue a larger than usual amount of fines over the course of his career?
He did. But he also quoted he's like, yeah, I got a technical $2,000 fine. Okay, $2,000, not a insignificant amount of money, unless you've made $177 million. But yeah, I looked it up, PFT, just because I was curious. And he has been fined over $2 million. But some of the fines, let's just throw them out there. Conduct detrimental to the team. That was when he knocked out Jordan Poole.
Mm-hmm.
That feels like that was on you, Draymond Green. You could have easily avoided that fine by not punching your teammate in the face. How about this one? Stepping on the chest of Domantas Sabonis during the Warriors-Kings game.
Mm-hmm.
Also very avoidable. For escalating on-court altercation during Minnesota Golden State game, that was when he choked Rudy Gobert. Kind of on you, Draymond. And then the last one for striking Yusef Kirkic in the face during the Golden State Suns game where he just punched him in the face. Again on you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that Draymond's done that probably ended up being deserved of fines. Is this a case of being like, it's the wrong messenger saying it? Does he have a point? I don't know. I don't know what the NBA does or does not do. I don't think that Draymond is probably the one to say, hey, with all these crazy fines that they're leveling out, it's really taken away from our ability to have a career post. Draymond doesn't need a career post. His career is he was in the NBA and he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Correct.
But what about, I know like with NFL players, your window is so small and the last guy on the bench, they don't make that much money, definitely not enough to set them up for life. And they get like 2 years at it sometimes. In the NBA, what does a 10th man make in the NBA?
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. I mean, remember when Tony Snell signed like a $40 million contract?
Yeah.
Tony Snell. They make a lot of money.
Yeah, they make a ton of money.
And it's all guaranteed. I have a theory. I think Draymond Green knows it's over, and he's going out really sad. Just complaining, like trying to, he made it weirdly kind of personal with Rudy Gobert on the inside the NBA and Karl Anthony Towns. I think Draymond Green has had insane amount of success. He's an interesting guy. He's made $177 million minus fines. I think there might be a small part of him when he goes to bed at night. He's like, did I cost Steph like a couple rings?
He might think that way.
A little bit.
But he also had
and it's over.
He had a great career, though.
Incredible career. He's, an incredible player, incredible career, 4 rings. But I do think there's a little bit of it's over, and he's grasping at whatever he can to try to keep it going.
I see his point, though. It's a little misleading to call punching Jordan Poole in the face and knocking him out detrimental to the team.
Yeah.
That might have been
yeah.
That should have been reversed.
But like Clay did this last year. Remember when Clay was like, I don't want to come off the bench, and then Clay kind of realized like, you know what? I've had a really good career. I'm gonna just be around. I'm not gonna rock the boat here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna rock the boat part.
Maybe he hasn't been great with his money. Maybe that's why he's doing
177 million.
TNT. I don't know what his circumstances. But yeah, for him to say that like the fines are the big problem. Yeah, the NBA is just willy-nilly assigning fine. You never know when you step on the court. You might get an envelope in your locker after the game for no reason.
Yeah, quite something. And then my other hot seat was the Braves because Ronald Acuna tore his ACL. That sucks.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
Also, he went. How do we judge this one? He went on Twitter and said sorry. You don't have to apologize.
It's very Canadian of him.
Yeah. Also, kind of gives you like everyone saying, "Don't worry, you don't have to apologize."
I think that for
maybe
him,
he just wanted to feel the support.
For him, it might be like he also had a devastating injury the year they won the World Series.
Yeah.
So he's probably bummed out that he's not going to get another crack at it again.
But he shouldn't have to feel like he has to apologize. Injuries happen. It sucks.
Wait, is it the same ACL as the last time?
I don't know. It sucks, though.
Yeah, it does suck.
Sucks. Okay, and then my cool throne is Conor McGregor because you wouldn't tell that he's got a fight in 6 weeks with some of the clips that have come out from Memorial Day weekend. And I love this energy. I think he's probably going to lose to Michael Chandler, but I like the fact that Conor McGregor, just like us, is like, it's Memorial Day weekend. Like, diet starts Tuesday.
Yeah,
fight camp starts Tuesday.
This is how the Irish train for fights.
Was that his wife? I think it was.
I'm going to say yes. Yeah,
I think it was.
Yes, definitely.
So good for them. They're very much in love.
Yeah.
Very much.
This is how the Irish do, man. You go out, you party, you have a good time.
Yeah.
You just show up.
He's having a great time. A great time. Okay, Jake.
My hot seat's Barry Bonds. Jose Ramirez, he was pitched around with the bases loaded, and someone after the game said, you received the Barry Bonds treatment, and he said, I'm better than Barry Bonds.
What?
Interesting.
That's confidence.
Well, that's
Embrace
not
debate.
True.
How many career home runs does he have?
Not even close to.
Not the most ever?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then no, he's not.
Yeah.
I'll just settle that one real quick.
No, he is not as good or better than Barry Bonds.
He has 231.
All right, how much does Barry Bonds have? Is it more?
7 something.
Okay, yeah, Barry Bonds is better.
I saw a stat that was like, I'm going to try to find it.
Take away the 7 MVP.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, take away the 7 MVPs.
Still had like 490 home runs.
It was exactly that. It was like take away the 7 MVP seasons, and he had 440 home runs and 359 stolen bases.
Yeah, pretty insane. And Barry Bonds,
his 7 best seasons, and he still is like an incredible baseball player.
And even before the steroids, he was probably a Hall of Famer at that point.
It's nuts that he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's nuts.
So in 2004, if Barry Bonds went up to the plate without a bat, if he didn't have a bat in his hand, he would have had an on-base percentage of 60%. Without a bat.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And you know what? That would have been the best in baseball history.
Yeah.
Without a bat.
He's so good. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Okay. Best player of all time.
My cool throne is college lacrosse. Notre Dame goes back-to-back, men's side, and BC wins on the women's side. So Notre Dame men's lacrosse becoming a wagon.
Yeah, the Kavanaugh brothers, right?
Yeah.
I
and
knew
then there's
that.
a guy who used to play quarterback at Alabama who transferred and is now
Oh, yeah. He was not
Buckner?
Good. Yeah, Buckner.
Is that his name?
Tyler Buckner?
Yeah.
Maybe?
A lot of people are having the conversation, could Notre Dame lacrosse beat the Whipsnakes?
Yeah.
The Whipsnakes are so bad.
It's game week, by the way.
Yeah, it is Tyler Buckner. I nailed that.
Opening week, dogs.
Yeah.
Philly era.
Weak dogs. Yeah, I watched some of that game. Kind of wish they had scored more goals, but that is what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't happen. They killed Maryland. Pretty damn good. Wake up the echoes. Okay. We have a great interview with Danny Ainge in person. Been a long time coming. Shout out Hank for working on getting us this interview for like 5 years. But yeah, great interview. Great stories. Great Bill Walton stories. And before we do that, PFT, you had a couple ads?
Yeah, before we get to Danny Ainge, he's brought to you by Chevy. As everyone knows, this is a Chevy truck podcast. The greatest trucks ever built and our good friends at Chevrolet are a big part of my take story. They've been a big part for a long time. The Silverado helped us dig the biggest hole ever dug in Ohio during Grit Week. The Silverado partners with us every season to give college fullbacks all the rightful recognition that they deserve with the Lowman Award. They also powered our nonstop cross-country trip to the Super Bowl in L.A. behind the wheel of a Chevy Silverado. Silverado has been a part of it all. I'll say this about that drive, going from Connecticut to L.A., the Silverado was so comfortable. It was really comfortable. I drove a lot of the way, and it felt spacious. Felt like we had people taking naps in the front seat. There were 4 of us in that truck, and it was very, very roomy. The Chevy Silverado, longtime awesome partner of the show. It's a truck with commanding and unstoppable grit, legendary capability and dependability too. I love Chevy. I drove a Chevy Silverado actually for an entire summer. It's a great truck. Absolutely love it. Find out for yourself. I personally own a Chevy. You're going to love it. Like so many other AWLs, go to Chevy.com. Check out all the Chevy truck grit. Build your own Silverado for do-it-yourself projects to road trips, off-road adventures, tailgates. Whatever your thing is, it all starts with a Chevy truck. And now, here's Danny Ainge.
Okay, we now welcome on an absolute legend, a very, very, very special guest. It is Danny Aigne. He is, what are you just the president of everything for the Jazz now? You've had a million titles.
I'm CEO of the Jazz.
CEO of the Jazz, was obviously a long time with the Celtics, played baseball, was an incredible football player, which I want to get into. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun to break from the all the basketball.
Yeah.
Going on at the combine camp.
Yeah. You want to start with football? Because I talked to your son earlier. And he said that was the one thing that no one ever asked. They're like, he was like, everyone talks about how Danny Ainge was incredible, NBA champion, longtime Celtic, played Major League Baseball. No one talks about the fact that he was actually an incredible high school football player that had a ton of offers to play football.
Yeah. I played football too. Yeah.
I mean, that's
so you were really good.
You're good at everything.
Is there any sport that you weren't good at growing up?
I wasn't very good at tennis.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
You could throw that one out.
Yeah, tennis. I tried playing tennis. My father played some tennis, and I didn't know which hand to use because I'm kind of ambidextrous, and I don't know what hand, left or right hand.
I heard you too. Yeah, that you hit with both hands when you play tennis.
Yeah.
Which that means you're probably good at tennis, even though you're not.
No, I'm not very good.
Yeah. But so when you were coming out of high school, was there ever a thought that you were going to maybe play football and because that was obviously something you were really, really good at, or was it always just baseball, basketball?
Yeah, when I was coming out of high school, I thought that I might try to play 2 sports in college. And so, yeah, I went on some recruiting trips in football and took it very seriously. I mean, I loved high school football. I was mostly a receiver and a defensive on a corner and safety. And so it was interesting how different parts of the country would recruit me as a receiver, and other conference teams would recruit me as a safety. And then I played my whole senior year as a quarterback just because our quarterback got hurt. And that was fun too.
Yeah.
That was a blast. But I was mostly recruited as a receiver.
Yeah.
So when did you decide that football is not something I'm going to pursue anymore? I'm just going to focus on basketball.
I think when basketball season started,
Yeah.
after football was over, I went back on the basketball court, and I just felt like basketball. Basketball was always going to be in the equation. Football and baseball go the best together, but yeah, I was never going to give up basketball. It was going to be basketball and baseball, or football and basketball.
Have you seen any of the discourse going on right now about how many NFL players could play in the NBA right now and vice versa? Because you might be the answer to all these questions. Like, oh well, Danny Ainge could probably play in all the leagues at his prime.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I think it's disrespectful to the football to just say that basketball players could play in there, but I mean, I think that the great athletes, and I think there's a lot of great athletes in the NBA, of course, and have they chose a different path to play football? I don't think they go play football right now. I think it's you got to learn that craft. But I think the same in football. Every now and then you see good football players that play basketball in college, but they're not as good. You guys are too old, but I remember when the Cowboys back, when I was a kid, they had drafted some basketball players to play on those Cowboy teams. And when Tom Landry was coaching, and I know that's ancient times for you, but I do believe that, I mean, you take guys like I'm watching right here, Jaylen Brown. I mean, he feels like he could be a football player if that's what he wanted to be. But
yeah.
So I don't know what the argument is necessarily,
but I think
there's
you're
some
the
great
answer.
there's some great athletes out there that could play different sports for sure had they started at a younger age.
Yeah.
I guess the discussion was like, are there players that could translate from either league directly right now to the other? And our point was, yeah, there's some great athletes in the NBA. If they loved football, if they wanted to play football, they put their minds to it. If you're one of these, big guys, like you can be a tight end with enough practice if you have that, competitive mentality to you. But we also thought it'd be harder for a football player to become a professional basketball player because of the skill aspect, dribbling, shooting, things that don't necessarily translate to football. But yeah, it was one of those discussions that you talk about usually like the second week of July when there's nothing going on in sports.
Yeah.
But for some reason it just cropped up. Actually, you're a good person to ask this question too because you've seen so much basketball. And
there's a player named Caleb Lohner who played at Baylor basketball the last couple of years, played at BYU before, and he's headed to Utah to play tight end.
Okay.
And it's a great school for him, I think, because Utah really uses their tight ends well.
Yeah.
And so, we'll see firsthand. Like he's a starting or he's a bench player for Baylor right now, but 4-year college player who's going to try college football.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch. So you've seen so much basketball. You've been in and around basketball for your entire life. So let's just start with who's the best player that you've ever played against or watched play?
Well, Michael Jordan. Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
I heard that you might have something to do with his greatness, or at least with his one of his all-time great performances.
Yeah.
You played golf against him and pissed him off.
Yeah, that's true. Got him a little frustrated. He had 63 on us the next night. I had to guard him for a share of that, but my kids have abused me on that one, and we've gone back and watched the film. I think I gave up 12 of the 63.
Oh, okay. So you're fine.
I'm fine, but Walton fouled out, and he's never forgiven me because I switched a lot. I'm guarding Michael in the screen like you got him, Bill.
Yeah.
And Walton fouled out, and he was like, guard your own man.
I watched a clip of MJ talking about you as a golfer, and he said that you are his favorite person to golf with because you give him shit more than anyone else. Like you'll talk trash to him more than anyone else. Is that fair to say? I mean, you obviously, from your basketball career, you'd fight anyone. You got dirty, but when you're on the golf course with Michael Jordan, you're not intimidated whatsoever?
No, not at all. I mean, Michael is so fun to play with.
Right.
He's a great competitor, as we all know, and him and I were golf junkies when we were playing in the NBA, and so we got together like we did that was his second year in the league. When he had the 63 against us in the Boston Garden. And that's when it started. We had two media buddies that knew each other, and they got us together and we played. And then we'd play every summer here and there. I'd run into him in San Diego and in Chicago and Boston. And it was fun. He's a great and he's a golf junkie like I am.
Yeah. Wait, so how bad did you beat him in these 36 holes before he drops?
Oh, not bad. I mean, I think our matches are always pretty close.
Yeah.
But, and that's why it's so fun. It's so competitive.
Yeah. So, all right. So your entry to the NBA, obviously you were playing college basketball and Major League Baseball at the same time, which I feel like if that story happened today, people would be like, what's going on? This is incredible. Like, I mean, it was incredible then, but now even more, like, people being able to play multiple sports doesn't happen as much. But your entry to the NBA, what was it like coming from playing baseball and then you're walking onto a Celtics team that has Larry Bird, that has Kevin McHale, that's won a title? Were you like, oh man, I can't hang with these guys? Or you instantly like, no, I'm here, I'm where I belong?
You know, when I played, I think playing in Yankee Stadium and in Fenway Park and against those great Yankee teams, Billy Martin managing, and that was pretty special. I mean, I was a kid, and it was lifetime great memories of playing in those games. But it didn't feel like I was playing under the same kind of pressure when I got to the NBA. Even though I was playing for the Celtics, I came in mid-season because of my baseball contract. And it was a very good team, like you said. And so I had to pay my dues. I sat that first year and was dying to play. And then I started my second year. But, I didn't feel that pressure. I think that I got, kind of that youthful anxiety maybe out of the way when I was playing baseball in those big ballparks in front of big crowds. That was fun.
And that actually makes sense because baseball is the ultimate like solo sport, and the fact that you're there, it's pitcher versus batter, and you strike out and you fail whatever, 3/4 of the time. And then you're on a team with the Celtics and like, all right,
maybe fail 75% of the
75,
time. Yeah, that's what you said, 3/4. Yeah.
Well, what was your batting average?
We won't talk about that.
Yeah, so I think I actually maybe gave you a couple points there.
Okay, that might be true.
It's actually not a bad strategy.
I was being nice.
For player development, make them go play baseball for you.
Yeah,
there you go.
You're
Good
like,
idea.
go up there and fail.
The hardest
time
mental
of everybody.
sport. Would you say baseball is the hardest mental sport?
I think hitting a baseball's tough. Yeah, I mean pitching is tough too, but I think hitting the pitchers is. There's so many good pitchers are different, and pitchers are getting stronger and stronger all the time. And I love watching baseball. I wish the game somehow could figure out a way to have pitchers, matchups last a little longer than they do.
I know.
I don't really like the 3-starter innings, but yeah, I love baseball.
Yeah. So at what point when you got to the Celtics did you feel like you were accepted by a Larry Bird and the rest of the team? Did it take that, putting in your dues? Like, what did you have a moment where you're like, okay, they can trust me and I can trust them?
I think my second year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it got through that first year, wasn't playing a lot, and I don't think that there was much I did to convince anybody that I deserved to play a lot more. In my own mind, I was deserving, but you just got to pay your dues, and I did. And I think my second year, I earned their respect.
Yeah.
What was it like forming that relationship with the city of Boston as a whole? Because it's a good sports town. We always talk about good sports towns, bad sports towns. Boston's a great sports town, but the fans can be hard on you. But you have to develop a relationship. You watch that with players that come into the league, especially I'd say in Boston and Philly. You have to kind of like learn how to adapt to the city that you're in. So what was it like ingratiating yourself to the city of Boston?
I loved Boston. I mean, it's a great sports town. I mean, they're anti-New York and anti-Philly, and they love cheering against those teams as much as they like cheering for their own teams. But I think just having the Bruins and the Patriots and the Red Sox, I mean, there's just a lot of competition, and I think it's healthy competition. And knowing the athletes in the different sports was fun experience, and there's always sport on all the time.
Yeah. Was there I would imagine, knowing your game, you were a trash talker from time to time playing basketball. When you saw Larry Bird, you're like, oh, this is a different level of trash talking?
Well, yeah, Larry was funny. Larry wasn't like always a trash talker. I mean, always talking trash. He was selective. He wasn't we had guys like Cedric Maxwell and ML Carr. I mean, they never stopped talking trash.
Right.
He was always talking trash. And then Kevin McHale, just being around them, he was always talking trash. And so Larry wasn't talking as often as them, but Larry said some funny stuff.
That's got to be like when like your dad gets like raises his voice. You're like, oh no, this is serious now. When Larry decides to start talking trash, he's using it for a real reason.
I think he's using it for his own motivation more than anything. I think some of Larry's trash talk just felt like he wanted to get motivated. I remember him telling Hubie Brown, as he's walking to the sidelines, and he says, Hubie, are you serious? This is the only guy that you got that can guard me? and the whole bench hears it, and I'm just sitting there smiling and laughing, but Larry's so confident in his game, and Hubie puts Johnny Newman in the game for me. Larry, are you serious? That's what you got?
Trash talking coaches is next level.
Yeah. I remember one time we're playing in San Antonio, and I don't remember the kid's name, but a young center coming off the bench, he runs in the game with all this excitement, enthusiasm, the crowd's going crazy, and Larry says, "Who you guarding?" And the kid points to Chief. He goes, "Oh crap, Chief, your ball now."
It's got to be even more intimidating if he's got that mustache too. You try to focus. I feel like it'd be hard to be intimidating with that mustache, but he was able to achieve that.
Well, he was able to achieve, probably not with the mustache, but with his play, he was a lot more than the mustache. That was not very intimidating.
Yeah. No, but the elevating your trash talk to a different level that makes the mustache go from that's a weird looking thing to I'm scared of that mustache is a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah.
So your teammates loved you in Boston. Who were you closest with there?
I was closest with Kevin.
Yeah.
He was my closest teammate. I mean, I still keep in touch with Larry and Kevin here and there. And, Kevin's really into the NBA still. I talk less to Larry, but we stay in touch over the years. I was close with DJ for a while, but he passed away. He was a great and fun teammate as well.
Yeah. What about Bill Walton as a teammate? Because we've had the honor of being able to interview Bill Walton. We've told this story before, but we got, I think, about 2.5 hours in, and Bill Walton said to us, he's like, how long does this go? And we're like, as long as you want. And so I don't think we wrote down all these questions. I think I maybe asked one of the questions that I wrote down because he can talk. Was he always eccentric and out there like that?
You know, Bill, when we got Bill, I mean, first of all, we lost Cedric Maxwell, so that was tough because I love Cedric. He was a great teammate. But Bill was who, like Larry and Kevin and I looked up to when we were younger in high school and college, and he was a legend in all of our minds. And so he's coming to the Celtics. Even though he hasn't played a lot of basketball over the last few years, we were very excited to get him. But for me, it was great because I was like Larry and Kevin's little brother. Mm-hmm. And so I got picked on a lot. And when Walton showed up, all the attention went to him, and they were picking on him, and it was fun. They were, but Bill was a great teammate. I mean, he was one of the most unselfish players I've ever played with. Although he didn't really have any of his skills left at that time, so he had to use his passing.
Yeah,
more than scoring. But he was a great shot blocker, rebounder. But he was all about winning. That's all he cared about, and I think that rubbed off on everybody.
So I have a dumb question about that '86 Celtics team because they're up there with some of the greatest teams of all time, the '96 Bulls. The
no, not up there. It's above.
Oh, okay,
we're
above there. Okay,
best team of all time.
Yeah.
My unbiased
well, you didn't play the Lakers in the finals.
Well, I know because they didn't make the finals.
I've heard
that wasn't going to happen to us.
I've heard you talk about that, and like it's crazy to say, but I think that probably speaks to the confidence of the team. And I've heard, I think Kevin McHale even said this as well, where it's like you guys were mad that the Lakers lost, even though they should have been the second best team. You were mad that you didn't get a chance to beat them. Most teams are like, well, we'd like to win the championship no matter what, but you were upset that they lost to the Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because the Lakers beat us in '85, and we felt we were better.
Yeah,
and in '84, maybe the Lakers were a little better at that moment in time, but and we won that series. But '86, we've planned all year to play the Lakers. We just assumed that's what was going to happen. So it was a little disappointing, but we weren't going to lose either way.
Yeah. So the question is, it's a dumb question, but maybe you can describe it and make it a great answer. How fun was it to play on a team that was that good? Because it does feel like there are certain points in NBA history that certain teams reach that almost higher level of basketball where it's like everything comes together and what they're doing is so good and it's such a different level that they can't be stopped. Did you feel that day in and day out?
I did feel that. I felt that all year long in '86, and I think it was. You know all the names on the team, but it was the prime of my career. It was the prime of Larry Bird's career. He was MVP of the league with Magic and Kareem and Olajuwon and Jordan and all these guys in the league. I mean, Larry was the MVP, and it was the prime of Kevin McHale's career.
Yeah,
and DJ wasn't past his prime yet. Robert was the only one that was a little older, and Walton. And they were able to split that time at center, and they were still great players. So we had a good bench. Jerry Seasting was a great shooter. Scott Wedman had been an all-star and was the highest paid player. Not very many people know that story, but he was the highest paid player in the league when the Celtics got him from Cleveland, and he was an all-star in Kansas City. But he was Larry's backup, so he didn't get to play. Not very many people knew, but Larry reminded him and was very frustrated. Like, I can't believe you make more money than me.
That would piss me off. Yeah, yeah. So you could feel it like just the level of basketball and night in and night out being like, what was your record at home? Did you lose one game at home or something?
Yeah, we were 50-1.
That's insane.
Who'd you lose to?
We lost to Portland in December, middle of December.
What happened there?
Yeah, what happened there?
I mean,
load
Portland,
management?
No, Portland was they just caught us on. We weren't our best, but they were a good team. That was the legendary story when we went back to Portland, where Larry was going to beat him with his left hand.
And
he had like 32 points with his left hand that night.
So he said that before the game. He
said that before the game.
I'm just going to shoot left hand.
I'm saving my right hand for the Lakers tomorrow night.
and he actually did it.
He did it.
That's incredible. And while you're watching, you're like, this, maybe mix in one right-handed shot? Like, no, just keep going.
I mean, Larry was like me, and he was left-handed.
Right.
He did a lot of things left-handed, but he played basketball right-handed. But that was still an amazing feat.
Yeah. Was there respect between you and the Lakers, or did you just hate them?
I didn't hate him. I mean, our fans hated him, but I mean, I grew up a Laker fan as a kid. And, you know, I ran into Magic Johnson, who was the same age I was coming out of high school, and we played in an AAU tournament, and like I was in awe of Magic. It was unbelievable. Seeing him for the first time as an 18-year-old was incredible. So I'd followed him. But no, I wasn't. I didn't hate him, but they were just, it's like playing against Michael. Like, they're the best. Like, let's go. This is the ultimate challenge. And, but I know that there was hatred mostly felt by the fans, and, you know, what we're playing for, there's a lot of intensity, and you couldn't ever be caught, you know, talking to them, being friendly to them, picking them up off the floor. After McHale did the Kurt Rambis throat shot, it was a little bit more intense.
Yeah. And before that, didn't Larry call the whole team like a bunch of pussies or something? Before the Kurt Rambis throat shot.
I don't know. He called us.
Yeah. Maybe not.
But I'm not sure he called the Lakers. But
you guys. Yeah.
He called us.
He called out his own team, being like, we're playing, like wimps right now.
I was in '84.
Yeah.
We came back and won that series, which was miraculous, actually. But
Yeah. So, all right. So just fast forwarding, because we also want to talk about you as an executive. I have a bunch of questions about that. But playing at the end of your career with Charles Barkley and the Suns, that's another like bigger than life kind of character. What was it like playing with Charles Barkley? Especially that was, you know, one of his MVP years was in there, go to the finals. Was it as fun as we all see Charles on TV and we're like, man, we want to hang out with that guy?
Yes. Charles made me laugh every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't practice a lot. You know, my favorite Charles story was we're getting ready to play a game, and Coach Westphal was great. I loved him, but he knew who was in charge of our team. He knew Charles was in charge most of the time. And we look up, we're getting ready 35 minutes before tip-off, and we're stretching, and Westphal comes in, sits on his stool, and we go through our pregame. Well, he's waiting, and we all kind of look over, and Charles's locker still has his uniform hanging up. He hasn't arrived yet. And so we wait, and everyone knows exactly why we're waiting. Nothing's said. Finally, Coach Westphal, with nothing about the pregame, he says, if he's not here by 7:10, he's not starting. 7:10 was the tip-off time. And he walked out of the room. Yeah. It was classic. And I mean, but that was Paul. He was just like, he was loose.
Yeah.
He kept us loose, but Charles made everybody laugh all the time. I mean, he was a lot of fun to play with. I had a great joy playing with him.
Yeah.
He's a great player and also like a great glue guy. Great guy just in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, he was fun. He made it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was also your co-star in Space Jam.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Space Jam
a
together.
lot of people don't talk about you being in Space Jam.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I don't remember much about Space Jam. My grandkids have told me about Space Jam more than I remembe about Space Jam. But
it was a scene where they stole all of Charles Barkley's talent, right? They took his talent
all
away.
of his power away. Yeah.
Yeah, you were a great cameo in that.
Did you get in any of the scrimmages that MJ would run on the set of Space Jam? I know it was. When was it filmed? Was it right after you retired, or?
No, it was during my career in Phoenix. Yeah, we did play.
Yeah.
On some of the sets.
I mean, it feels like those are legendary. Just any pickup game with MJ, just taking it way too seriously at all times.
Elbowing Bill Murray in the face.
All right. So, as an executive, when you decided to, you were a coach, and then you actually were on TV for a year. You didn't like TV?
Yeah, I was on TV for 3 years.
Okay.
I did 1 year before I coached, and then I did it 3 years after I coached.
And what did you think about being on the media side?
I loved it.
Really?
I loved it, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard for me to leave that life. I mean, I was working 1 day a week. I didn't really have to do much preparation because I'd just been a player, and then I coached, and I mean, I knew all the players, all the teams, all the tendencies. I didn't really need to prepare for games, and so I'd fly in the day of the game and fly out the next day.
Yeah.
Was it hard to criticize players that maybe you had played with or coached against?
I guess you don't know me very well, but
yeah.
It should have been harder, but it wasn't so hard. I mean, criticizing versus kind of trash talking is probably different. I mean, I respect all the players and all they do, but sometimes we do things that are, as players, that are funny and entertaining, and probably picked on guys a little bit too much for that.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a bunch of questions about your long time as executive for the Celtics, but I wanted to start with the Jazz right now. From your perspective, when Brian Windhorst did the Jazz are up to something, did you see that clip and you're like, God damn it, Windhorst just blew my cover? Do you remember that?
I don't remember it.
So it was when you traded the Royce O'Neal trade, and then he basically was like, look, when Danny Ainge made a trade right before getting Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and all these things, he's like, the Jazz are up to something, and I don't know what they're up to, and everyone's trying to figure it out. And Danny Ainge is up to something. I was hoping you saw it and like, oh man, he blew my cover because I'm clearly up to something.
Yeah, no, that's really not how it is. When I went to the Jazz, I wasn't really going to Utah to work for the Jazz. I mean, Ryan is a great friend, and I've known him for years. And I told him on numerous occasions that, you got me or my advice anytime you want. Then call me. We're friends. You don't need to pay me to work. I didn't really want to get back in the NBA, but when that happened, when the Jazz were making the changes, or we were all making the changes, it was I'm just helping the people that are there. Like Dennis Lindsay had a great staff and great people working there. Justin Zanuck is fantastic. And Ryan was, wanting to know my opinion of what we should do. So I was just helping facilitate what they're doing. It wasn't like I came in with like this plan. I'm going to blow the team up and we're going to start over. That was many other people's ideas.
But you would say it's fair to say you like draft picks. You love draft picks.
I like good players.
Yeah. But you like draft picks. You've gotten a lot of draft picks.
Yeah,
made some really smart moves that have gotten you a lot of draft picks.
Right, but I would say that I like good players much more than draft picks.
Yeah.
You like draft picks that turn into good players.
Yeah.
You look at every draft pick like that's a future good player.
Yeah, I mean some we did some good ones and some not so good ones like everybody, but I mean I think I like draft picks because I think they're currency. Mm-hmm. And you need to take swings at the plate with some of these new players. I mean, every team has both. I mean, every team has players they've drafted and turned out to be better than you thought, and also players that they've traded for or signed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say that's one of the more interesting parts of your career is that you've kind of done it both ways. With the Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett Celtics that win a title, that trade the big three, and then to rebuild it all kind of homegrown with Tatum and Brown and all the guys and Marcus Smart. So how did you maneuver the first iteration of it with the big three with Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett pulling that off and having basically a team have that success out of the Celtics were a little lost for a while with Paul Pierce in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a lot of good fortune that went that way. I mean, obviously we would have loved to get KG a lot sooner. Ray Allen, but those guys just were never available. Mm-hmm. And then they came available. KG, Paul, and Ray were all teams playing for teams in the lottery, and all three of those teams were looking to go a different direction. Seattle at the time, where Ray was playing, they were looking to draft, Kevin Durant and move on from their veteran guys, their older guys, and we were the beneficiaries of that. We got had we gotten the second pick that year in the draft, we probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have kept Kevin Durant. But as it turned out, we didn't. We got the fifth pick in the draft, and we moved that and got Ray Allen, and then we eventually moved Al Jefferson and other players, and we ended up with KG. So, I mean, that just turned everything. KG's presence just gave Paul hope, Doc hope, the city of Boston hope. Mm-hmm. Ray was more excited than I'd ever seen him play, and it was just there was a lot of electricity in that whole time there. We only won one championship. We should have won a couple, but injuries, and we lose Game 7 in L.A., but I think that era was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just talked to Perk the other day, and he said if he didn't get hurt, you guys win another championship that year. He said no question about it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably right.
Yeah, so you guys get the big three together, and I feel like from that point forward in NBA history, we've always talked about like getting a big three to win a championship. I don't know if that's necessarily the blueprint to do it, because we've seen time and time again it's harder than you would think to put together a super team, in quotes, that would end up working out. So you have Paul Pierce, who I think one person voted as the best basketball player of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that you? Somebody, it was like all the votes were either MJ or LeBron, and then one person voted Paul Pierce. He was a great player. But so you have a bona fide superstar in Paul Pierce, and then you get Kevin Garnett, also superstar, Ray Allen, superstar at the time. What was that like, gelling those three guys together and having them try to commit to being a team and not just three great players?
I just think they were together at the right time of their careers. I mean, I think that getting guys together, sometimes you get players that are too old. Managing older players, they're the last ones to see the decline in their games. Sometimes you get players when they're too young and they really want to be all-stars and all-NBA and, get paid as much money as they possibly can, and which is all understandable. But those guys they only cared about one thing at that stage of their lives and careers. None of them had won a title, and they were desperate for one.
Yeah.
And they played that way. They practiced that way, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch that electricity and the way that they played. I mean, it wasn't always rosy, but it was always about team.
We're going to get back to Danny Ainge in a second. He's brought to you by BetterHelp. Part of my take is sponsored by BetterHelp. When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, it's flexible, it's suited to your schedule. I've recommended friends to BetterHelp. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with licensed therapists, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. I've personally benefited from therapy in the past. It's helped me get over loss. It's helped me deal with some emotions. And I think that you guys, some of you out there, could benefit from it as well. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/PMT today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PMT. The interview with Danny Aigne is also brought to you by Proper 12. Proper 12 is so smooth. The springtime is here. Summer's almost here. Proper 12 Irish Apple is here to welcome it. It's a delicious blend of Proper's award-winning Irish whiskey with crisp and fresh notes of Irish apple. It's perfect neat or with a little bit of ginger ale. There's no better springtime sip. Pour the roar with Proper 12. Pick up a bottle. Try it for yourself today. Original, rich and smooth Proper 12 Irish whiskey, or try crisp, fresh Irish apple, smooth to the core. And now, here's more Danny Ainge.
Yeah. You mentioned something there that I'm interested in. Would you say that's one of the hardest parts about being an executive, is having to basically tell a guy who might be a little past their prime, like, hey, we're moving on from you, or this is not going to work the same way that you think it works? Because it is usually the guy himself is the last to know.
Yeah, I think that I haven't had to do that. When I moved Paul and KG, they could have vetoed the trades.
Yeah.
We talked it through, and they ended up it being mutually beneficial for them, and we were rebuilding and starting over, and so they were willing to be traded to Brooklyn, and that was good for us.
Yeah, very good.
I didn't have to tell them that you guys are really old and we need to check the expiration date on the bottom of your shoes, but they were great, and those guys, their willingness to do that for the Boston Celtics at that time is huge, and it's paying dividends even to this day.
Yeah. So when you did make that trade, and then you have years where you're rebuilding and you do such a great job of it, were there any moments in that rebuild where you're like, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be, or we're farther away than I thought we were going to be? Just because that is a very difficult thing to pull off in any professional league.
It is. Again, we were very fortunate, and the Brooklyn didn't turn out as good as I thought they were going to be. I thought it was actually a really good trade for Brooklyn to get Paul and KG with a couple of years left, veterans, good locker room guys, all about winning, to go play with that core group down up in Brooklyn. But I just think that our team was, we got Jalen and Jason, and then we brought in Kyrie, and then we brought in Gordon Hayward, and we were good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and in training camp, I'm going, man, this team is powerful and explosive, and these young players are better than we think. Terry Rozier was part of that group, and then we lost Gordon on game one, and that was devastating to us. But that meant Jason and Jalen got much more opportunities, and they, but that team, and then Kyrie got hurt late in the year, wasn't able to play in the playoffs, and then and Rozier at 20 and Tatum and Brown at 19 and 20, I think, took us to the conference finals.
Yeah.
So, when those other guys came back, I mean, they're realizing that these young guys are pretty special, and pretty good. And I don't think that was easy.
Yeah. So in terms of Tatum and Brown, we know now they're incredible basketball players, they're incredible NBA players. But when you drafted them, there were people who were like, "What is going on?" Because I know Jaylen Brown people thought that was a reach. His Cal year, like he had obviously all the tools, but it wasn't the smoothest year in his 1 year in college. And then Jason Tatum, I think very, like, there's only been a couple times in NBA history where a team is traded out of the number one pick. When you have those moments where you're just like, I feel it, I know it, this is who we like, and forget everyone else. Because it is funny to look back and be like, at the moment, at that time, people were like, Danny Ainge is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you don't ever know, but there are times that it's more fun. Like there's somebody that you just really like, and you just feel like it's a fit. I wish that were the case every year, but with Jalen, I watched him play a lot that year. I mean, I got to games at 4:30, 7 o'clock tip-off, and I'm watching him out shoot before the game and watching his work ethic. And then I watched their team play, and he did not have a good finish to that freshman year.
Yeah.
And but, we had him as the number 2 or number 3 pick before the season started. And then I watched his team play so much, I knew, like, they had a point guard that wasn't a good shooter. They had 2 7-footers that weren't good offensive players. And they didn't have enough shooting, enough spacing for him. And I really thought, like, man, you get him in an NBA court, in the open court. And so we brought him in for 2 workouts, and in those 2 workouts, he convinced all of us, our whole organization, that he was a guy that we wanted to go to bat with.
Yeah, and then Jason is the other one where it's like people, like you trade the number 1 pick. Everyone thought Markelle Fultz was the guy. Philly fans have to look back at that constantly. Our producer Max as well.
They probably hate you.
Where they get to play the game of like,
Max,
imagine.
You don't hate me, do you, Max?
He does.
No, everything turned out fine.
No, Max is saying
everything's turned out fine.
we traded Markelle Fultz for the pick that got Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, okay.
yeah, and
there you go.
Fine. He said that's a success. Yes, but no, Max was he was cussing you out before you.
Good recovery.
Incorrect.
Yeah, he hates you.
But that pick, like, you're out on an island because everyone's like, this is crazy. Markelle Fultz was the guy for a while there, and you trade out of it and take Jason Tatum. But was that a similar feeling where, like, we know that this guy is the best guy in this draft?
I mean, I loved Markelle. I watched Markelle play a lot his senior year in college, and that was really a hard decision. I mean, but I felt Jason was the guy for us. Markelle if you needed a franchise point guard, that might have been the guy. But I felt like Tatum was more important for us to get at that moment, and it worked out great for us. It was, Markelle, I think, had injuries, but he's shown to be an outstanding player, and I think he's still got a lot of basketball left in him.
Yeah. When you're scouting, you can't scout high school players anymore in the NBA,
right?
But back when you could. Were there any special tricks that you used to use when you go into a gym, watch a high school player play? Maybe like somebody might get nervous if they're like Danny Aigne.
Did someone give you that tip?
No, I ask the question to every guest that we have. I talked to Perkins about this.
Yeah.
But like, they're like, man, Danny Ainge is here. I might get nervous. I hope I don't play bad.
I can't give my secrets, but I've been to high school gyms, but I was grateful that I had 4 boys that played AAU basketball and was able to go into the gyms at all the major tournaments for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So maybe
disguise
that was worn. No glasses, fake nose. The Groucho Marx or
Nothing?
Or whatever it was.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill crew for not giving you guys that feedback.
To me, that disguise makes you stick out even more. It's like, who's this guy that's wearing a disguise?
Yeah.
It's a good disguise. You got to be good at your disguise.
Yeah.
You just have to believe it.
Yeah.
Would
have
you ever
to have
throw on a wig?
sunglasses. Yeah. I've done that before.
You've done the wig? That's great.
Are people afraid to take your calls?
No.
I would be. If I was a GM, I would be afraid to take your calls. I'd be like, he knows something that I don't know.
Well, you get on the phone with Danny Ainge, and then all of a sudden your picks for the next 10 years are gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Like if I got a call,
happen?
if you called me right now, I'd be like, what? We're sending Hank to the McAfee show.
He did it to us right here, where he's like, I don't love picks.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then you're gonna walk out of here and be like, wait, did we just give up 3 picks? What the hell just happened?
No, I think that, like, I believe that the trades were fair, and I really do. I mean, some of them worked out for us in Boston, like Jason Tatum trade. I mean, it was unfortunate Markelle got hurt, but I felt like that was a really fair deal. And the same thing with KG and Paul. Like, they had Darren Williams and Brooke Lopez and Joe Johnson still in his prime. Like, I think that team, I thought, was going to be a very special team. I thought they were going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league. So it just worked out different. I mean, we just were fortunate that they gave us the number 3 picks for Jalen and Jason. Like, I never had an idea that would happen.
Yeah. All right. Another story that I was told from inside sources. Your wife, when you met her at BYU,
Yeah.
the story goes that you might have met her and her boyfriend at the time at a party, and then the boyfriend invited you to play on the flag football team, and you went and played on the flag football team, and you're Danny Ainge, and you were the best player by far, and then your wife was like, oh, I kind of like this guy more. Is that fair to say?
That's close. That's close.
What an idiot that guy was to invite you to his flag football team.
Yeah, he played center. I played quarterback. And that's what I claimed to my wife. That's when she fell for me. But I wasn't supposed to be playing flag football. It was, our basketball players were not allowed to, and someone eventually tattled on me, like, right before the championship game.
No way. Oh, that was definitely an opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, we don't want to. We're sick of watching Danny Ainge
coach
beat
got
our
news
ass.
that we're getting ready for the championship intramural game, and I wasn't able to play in that game.
No way. That's hilarious.
Might have been the starting center.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah.
He's like, God damn it. I mean, that was a really a poor choice by him to invite you. I mean, I guess you did get him to the championship game, but he lost his girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they were not dating for very long. So.
You don't invite Danny Ainge on your flag football team. Did you play? I also heard that when you were playing quarterback, you would throw it lefty and righty.
I threw it righty.
Yeah, but you would
I
you were rolling
I could throw
out
it a little bit left. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he
could
was
throw it out.
Patrick Mahomes.
He's a legend. He's Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. You taught Patrick Mahomes everything he knows.
No.
Is that something that you
Mahomes
look
is
for?
pretty good.
If there's a up and coming player and they've played lots of sports at a high level growing up, is that something that you look at and you're like, I like that because they've developed all these other areas of athleticism that will help them be a better basketball player?
I think so. I mean, it's not a make or break deal. I mean, there's not everybody that played other sports, but yeah, I think that I get a kick out of guys that have played other sports and had success, especially at their young ages. But that's less and less nowadays. There's just not as many.
Yeah. Was there a certain age where it clicked and you were like, oh, I'm better than everyone?
No, I would say that the most confident that I got was when I was playing in that Magic Johnson tournament. I made all tournament team there back in Boca Raton, Florida, and some of the best, Albert King from New York and Gene Banks, were the high school players of the year, and I held my own and played really well in that series, AAU series, and that's when I kind of believed, like, man, this
is real.
Good.
Yeah.
But when Walton was playing with the Blazers, I would go up and play with some of them too. That same summer, I would play pickup in their camps.
How old were you?
I was 17.
And you were playing with NBA players?
Playing with NBA players.
Wow.
And I felt like I could hold my own. I felt like I could play with those guys.
That's pretty badass.
And when Walton was talking to you, did it ever seem like a riddle that you had to decode before you answered? Because I feel like if I'm 17 years old talking to Bill Walton, it's going to take me about a minute to process what he said. Then if you think about it hard enough, you're like, yeah, he's making a good point. But you have to you take a meandering road to get there sometimes.
Oh, I got a great Bill Walton story.
Oh, let's go.
So Bill, when he was first with us, he would take a chess set, like his own computer chess set with him, and he'd be sitting in his airplane seat, and we're flying commercial in these days, and he's sitting in the first class section, and he's playing computer chess, and so and then we're stretching in the mornings, and he's like telling us about Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky, and Queen 3 to Jack 7. It was crazy stuff. We don't know what he's talking about, but he's like talking about the brilliant moves that these players are making. So we thought he was like a chess genius. He's with that board all the time. And so finally, one day I challenged to play him, and I beat him. And then Jerry Seasting challenged to play him, and he beat him. And we said, you can't ever talk chess again. Like,
what was he doing?
You are not good.
Yeah, what was he doing with that board?
I don't know. He was like playing against a computer. Must have been at like level 1 or something.
Beginner mode?
He's dominating, and then he's thinking that he's on the same level as like the Bobby Fischer,
yeah.
The famous blunder. I think that was like a famous tournament that he was in. And so he reads a story about it and then just gets his ass kicked.
Perfect.
We should let Hank ask a couple questions. Hank is a diehard Celtics fan. Born, raised.
He
sure
loves you.
Yeah, he does love you. As much as Max hates you.
Is Hank
he loves
the
you.
guy that made the big bet for dunking?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, yeah.
got any
We'll
advice?
actually, after this, we'll have him go show you his progress.
But Hank, are you 6 feet?
I'm 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been training.
How old are you, Hank?
I'm 30.
Okay, just a pop.
I got about eight months to get about 7 inches.
But have you ever dunked before?
No.
Not even close.
Hank.
He deadpan asked Derek White. He's like, "Hey, Derek, when did you first dunk?" I was like, "Hank, are you asking Derek White when he first?" I don't think you can compare the two.
Well, Hank, HGH in the rules.
yeah. He actually said September, October is when he's going to start mixing in the steroids if he doesn't make progress.
Yeah, we're trying. We're getting progress, but we're gonna go through it the natural way, and then if it gets to like October, November, we might start going the alternate routes.
Okay. Well, you can come out to Utah and do
Maybe
some
the
altitude.
altitude.
training.
Yeah.
Get the elevated thin air, jump in the thin air.
Yeah.
On some trampolines. All right. So, yeah, Hank, what are your questions?
Yeah, obviously, when you're in Boston, everyone called you Trader Danny. But one trade I didn't even know was possible until it happened was when you traded the coach. Was that like a different negotiation? Talking to teams versus when you're talking about players, and you're like, hey, do you want to coach?
Well, what happened there was, Doc had been with us for 9 years, and he knew and he had gone through a rebuild with us before we made the big trade, and so he was just not in the mood to do it again, and I completely understood where he was, and so the Clippers opportunity came to him, and he's under contract. I can't just let my coach go. So, I don't think Doc was happy at first, but I think he understood where we stood, and we got a first-round pick for our coach. But Doc got to go do what he wanted to do, was go coach Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and they obviously had a lot of promise there, Clippers.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't really a question either, and he didn't pan out, but he was a fan favorite. He was always one of my favorites. Gershon Yabusele. I just love
Yabusele.
Yeah,
You just like saying the name.
Yabu.
He didn't
He
say
didn't
it right.
say it right. It's Gershon Yabusele. He's still playing. He's still playing really well overseas right now. But he didn't. What happened with Gershon is he had some tight Achilles tendon, and so he got surgery on them, and it messed up his whole rookie year. And we knew that going in. Trying to do what was best for him and his health, but it didn't really help. And he was not the same even in the second year. But watching him play now, I wish we had that Gershon the last few years. He's been playing in Europe, and from that health standpoint. But by the time he really did get healthy, we just had a stacked team. And but Gershon was a great, fun kid and had a lot of talent.
What's the number one trait you look for in prospects? Is it size? Is it explosiveness? Shooting ability?
I mean, there's not. I'm asked that question a lot. I don't think there's one. I mean, but talent overrides a lot.
Yeah.
When guys are really talented, you can look the other way on other things sometimes. But
I guess that would be a better question: is what's the one thing you can look the other way on, being like, they can probably get better at this.
I mean, if a guy is a great athlete and a good player, has a good brain but can't shoot, I think that's a
good bet to take.
A good bet.
Yeah.
Like like Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson, all those guys. They weren't great shooters. Jason Kidd, one of my favorites that I ever coached was Jason Kidd or been around. But he was, what a special player he was.
Yeah.
Him, Gary Payton, Scottie Pippen, if they never learned to shoot, which they all did learn to shoot, they still would have been great players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the recipe for that? Is it a numbers game? Just get in the gym, put up this amount of shots every day?
So. Yeah. I mean, Kawhi Leonard was another guy that wasn't a great shooter in college and turned out to be one of the best.
Yeah.
How many shots a day do I need to get good? You saw me shoot a little bit. I think I bricked a layup.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that'll happen. It's about the same odds as him as Hank dunking.
Yeah. Who's the one guy you? I don't want to say missed on, but you're like, man, I was thinking about drafting him, and it just didn't work out, and I obviously turned out to be great.
I would say Jimmy Butler is the first one that comes to mind. It was he was a late first round pick, and he was seriously in our thoughts of drafting, and we went another direction, and Jimmy turned out to be a great player.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one I regret the most.
What about Giannis?
Giannis was different. Like, it's not like it's hard to regret, but I saw
everyone
Giannis
missed on Giannis.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Giannis play like 3 months before the draft, maybe 4 months before the draft, and I liked him. I loved his enthusiasm for the game. And then I saw him in the summer league, and it was like he's 3 inches taller. Like he actually has muscles in his arm. Like it was incredible.
Yeah.
Just the transformation over that time. But I mean, what a great story Giannis is. But
yeah.
I went over to Greece to watch him play, and I mean, he was a joy to watch. But never in a million years could I imagine him being an MVP, NBA champion that he's become. But it's fun to see.
Yeah. So you've lived your whole life in basketball. Hey, can you notice like going overseas now, just how much the game has grown and how much better the guys are, just like on a baseline level?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's been that way for the last 20 years. I mean,
yeah.
It's big. I mean, people talk about Jokic and how he's the best player in the game today. But I remember when, Drazen Petrovic was a superstar over there years ago. I played with Drazen for a year in Portland, and then Sabonis. Mm-hmm. Sabonis, before he had his Achilles tendon injury when he was 21 years old, I mean, he was so special. He passed the ball like Jokic. He could shoot. He was 7'2". I mean, he was an amazing, amazing young player.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been good over there for quite a while.
Yeah.
But different countries that have different strengths, like is one country known, hey, they produce really great point guards. One country's like, you got to get like a Serbian big man.
No, I don't think so. I think that there's I think they come from all the countries over there. And, I mean, you got Doncic and Jokic from the same country, but they're completely different positions, but those guys are very special. I mean, I don't know why they grew those two players, but it's a big country and actually a small country. But
yeah, it actually is remarkable that both those guys.
Yeah, I mean they had good basketball roots, and you could just see how smart they were at a very young age.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, this has been great. I have a couple last questions. Roback question, rhoback.com, promo code TAKE, 20% off your first purchase, Q-zips, polos, hoodies, joggers, shorts, roback.com. I don't know if you know this, Danny, but we've been trying to get you on the show for a long time. So this is a thrill for us. Hank has been bothering your son for how many years, Hank? 4 or 5?
6.
6 years?
That's so fun.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time where it's like, oh, we could have probably done this.
No, it was good. It was good. It was way better than anything else I'm doing in Chicago tonight. So I've been sitting watching basketball, so this is fun.
Yeah. So last couple questions. Is there So you got in some scraps in the NBA. It is funny watching back some of these old videos where you were completely unafraid, and doesn't matter who the guy was, you weren't going to take shit. But you famously got bit in a fight by Tree Rollins. What was going through your head while you were getting bit? Were you like, "What is he actually biting me right now? Is this actually happening?"
Yeah, I mean, so Tree was a physical player. It was a playoff game, and like he set screens. I think that's part of their thing. They're going to hit us on screens. In those days, they didn't call them like they do today. I mean, they let guys really screen and move and hit. And Tree had knocked out Quinn Buckner earlier in the game, and just with an elbow, and Quinn went down, and so I just gave him an elbow as he was running back down the court. He's running by me, and I just gave him an elbow because he's been doing that all night. But he turned and started coming at me. I mean, I basically had two options: to run to the locker room or tackle Tree. And so I went and tackled Tree, and we're in a dog pile, all the players on the floor, and my finger is in his mouth. And I swear I thought he was going to bite it off.
Jesus
I
Christ.
thought he was gnawing at my finger to bite it off.
Yeah, that's got to be terrifying.
It was crazy, but I don't think that he could move. I think we were all kind of paralyzed with all the bodies around, and that was his way of getting at me, I guess, at that moment. My hand must have been up close to his face, and he just chose to almost bite it off. But it was crazy. I looked down at my hand, and I could see it hadn't started bleeding, and so I could see my finger. It lift up. I could see all the way to the tendons.
Oh my God!
Inside my hand.
He really bit you?
Do you have
gross.
teeth marks on your finger still?
I have a scar on the middle of my finger right here.
That's a pretty cool scar.
It is. Yeah, a man bit me.
Yeah, man bit me in an NBA game.
I still say when I play golf, when I hit a tree, that Tree Rollins blocked my shot.
Yeah. So and then in terms of all the fights or the scraps or the physical play, was there ever a time where Larry Bird got mad at you and was like, "No, we shouldn't fight today"? Because Larry got in fights too.
Yeah, Larry had some fights, but no. A matter of fact, we kind of had a team rule that if you go down swinging, you got take someone equal or better on the other team with you.
That's good.
If you're
That's a
going
good
down.
rule.
But other than that, I think that it was. I mean, I could score 35 in a game, and Red would come in and pat me on the butt, say, "Nice job, way to go." But if I got in a fight, he wanted to celebrate. He wanted to take me out to dinner and throw a party for me. It was unbelievable how excited Red was when the fights happened.
That's great.
And he just, he loved that. He loved that intensity. And, I didn't. I mean, I played 14 years in the NBA, and I think I had 6 of them, but they were usually at times when
they were memorable ones. I
just
Googled Danny Ainge fighting before, earlier this morning, and I was like, damn, he would throw with anyone.
Yeah, I didn't win very many.
Yeah, the one where you got knocked out, but you actually got up. Yeah.
Nadal, yeah.
Yeah, you got up fast. That was credit to you. That was a big time, I'm not injured, but you're clearly injured move.
Yeah. No, I wasn't injured. I
knocked out.
Was dizzy.
Yeah.
I was chasing him, and I felt like my body was tilting the whole time running after Nadal. And someone asked me, what the greatest shots you ever made in the NBA, and it was those 2 free throws. I saw 2 baskets. Philly fans are going crazy, and I made both the technical free throws, but it was that was. Yeah.
He also,
in those days, you'd have been, concussion protocol for 2 weeks or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He escalated that very quickly. It was like a push, and then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna just punch Danny Ainge in the face.
Yeah, it was a sucker punch.
Yeah,
he got me good.
Yeah, he did. But you got up.
He landed.
You got up.
He landed the punch though.
Did
he won the fight?
Yeah.
Did Tree ever reach out and apologize? Was he like, "Hey, my bad for biting you"?
No, but I mean, everybody that I know that's played with Tree says he's a great guy. I don't hold anything against fighting and those things that happen in a battle.
What about as a talent evaluator? Do you like a guy that fights on your team?
It's kind of phased out of the game.
I mean, it's harder to fight now just because it's so penal. But I think I like guys that fight. I mean, not literal fight, but guys that'll fight for what they can and take it as far as they can.
Mm-hmm.
You like guys do you actually?
I like instigators.
Yeah. Can you tell if a guy has the dog in him? I don't know if you know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of my favorite draft picks were Avery Bradley, Tony Allen, Delonte West. Like they were big time instigators.
They got the dog. Do you have like an analytics department that has the like, you know, you pull up all the charts and you're like, all right, he's got 95%
That's a good
dog.
idea. That's a
Yeah,
good idea.
we could be that for you.
Okay, we're gonna
the Jazz.
We're gonna do some dog
Yeah,
evaluation.
you just give us a guy, have him come by.
I hear my scouts talk about it all the time, but like we need to like, is it 20%?
Yeah, put a number on it.
75%
And
dog.
you need to know what kind of dog too.
Yeah,
I had a
important.
scout, Leo Papil, who I worked with in Boston, and he used to always say he's the wrong kind of cat. He's a house cat. Say, is he alley cat or is he a house cat?
Yeah, indoor cat, outdoor cat.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that.
You want need Rottweilers, pit bulls.
Yeah.
It was John Thompson that said like you can get one of those guys and win a championship. If you have two of them on the same team, they can get you fired though.
Yeah.
So be careful with
Dogs
two of
fighting
them.
each other.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hank, you got one last question?
Yeah, the only thing I was going to ask about is just I like hearing the stories about the old garden versus the new garden, like the home court advantage, the heat. I always wish I got to go there.
Yeah, I mean that Lakers game, you know, where it was 100 and something degrees. Yeah, that was crazy. But the old garden was just more. It was just steeper. It felt like they were right on top of you. You know, we got the smoke going on in the arena. You had all the dead spots all over the floor.
You knew all the dead spots?
No. Like we didn't know the dead spots because we never practiced there, but we knew there were dead spots. And so I think that's an advantage. I mean, there was a guy, I remember Isaiah Thomas coming down one time and, you know, doing his dance with the ball and he loses the ball. Like we knew not to do that.
Right.
You know, like it's not a normal floor. So, but that might have been our only advantage, but we didn't know where the dead spots were.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question.
None of us were that good at ball handlers anyway.
Kyrie would have to know. Is Kyrie the most talented ball handler you've ever seen?
He's up there for sure. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of good ones. But I mean, Kyrie he's a magician with the ball. He's really fun to watch. And he has really strong hands. So like, you know, in traffic, he hardly ever loses the ball. And yeah, he's a beautiful player.
Yeah.
Did you get as personally offended when he stomped on Lucky as Hank did? Hank was like, you couldn't talk to him for a week.
Is that right?
Yeah, he was so upset.
What's your stat? Like after he stomped on Lucky, he hasn't won a game there?
I'm pretty sure. That's
Pretty sure he hasn't won a game.
Pretty sure. Good stats.
I'm not. I mean, I'm grateful Kyrie gave us a chance, and he was great for the first year and a half. And like, there's some things went wrong. He talked with me about it, and like I don't hold any grudges at all.
Okay, so Hank will just hold the grudge for stomping on Lucky.
Hank will get over it.
Yeah.
No, he won't.
No,
he definitely won't.
Like anything else would be forgiven, but he stepped on Lucky.
That's the difference between players and executives and guys who are on that side versus fans. Fans will never get over it.
Yeah, I mean, I would get over it just because I know all the circumstance and I know Kyrie and you know what he did to help us, and yeah, I hold no grudges.
Yeah, but stomping on Lucky.
Yeah, he stepped right on that leprechaun's face.
Lucky shouldn't have been standing there.
Yeah, what did Lucky do to instigate that? That's what we need to ask.
Yeah.
It's a symbol.
Yeah.
It's a symbol. That's
I do have one last question. How often do you get unsolicited advice from fans on what to do with the game?
Oh, wow. All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like it. I think it's fun.
Really?
Yeah, there's some good ideas. There's some not so good ideas, but fans, they love that stuff. I mean, the fans care more in the world we live in today, more about the trades and the draft and the free agency and lottery than they do the games. Mm-hmm. It's incredible how much of a following there is in the NBA and in the NFL, just with all of that chatter.
Yeah.
And so I like it. I enjoy it.
Has there been like a really good suggestion that somebody's given you?
Yeah, I mean, I get them sometimes from kids at schools, going to watch games, some college kids. They come up with some very good ideas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here's a suggestion. Let's bring back some paint play and maybe some mid-range. Just zig while everyone zags. No more threes.
Well, there's teams that are doing that. I think it's coming that direction. I think that it's not like exclusively threes, but I think there was a three craze, and I think the three is still a great thing if you got great three-point shooters.
Yeah.
But you have to have both.
Yeah.
You got to be able to score in lots of ways.
Yeah, I just don't want to see basketball become like baseball, where it's some teams and more like college teams are playing this way, where it's like no shots that aren't threes or layups. And it's
Right.
like, I mean, there's got to be something more. There has to be something more.
Yeah, I mean, I've always fought the analytics on that. You know, the analytics will say the mid-range shot is a 40-something% shot or around there, and I like get better at it. Then shoot 50%, shoot 55%. You know, like there's
Kevin Durant,
there's
DeMar
a lot,
DeRozan,
there's a lot of players that shoot a higher percentage than that. That can be very efficient with your team at mid-range, and especially at times of the game. There's times of the game where 2 points is crucial, or 1 point. Like you got a 7 or 8 point lead, and it's hard. Like get the 55% shot instead of the 40% shot. So I think that it's coming that direction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Danny, thank you so much. This was honestly, like I said, we've been trying to get you on for a while now, and this didn't disappoint. We appreciate it very much. Anytime you're in Chicago, we'd love to have you back on.
Okay.
And let's
you guys
go.
need to get crew on. Next.
Yeah, we need to get crew on. And we also need to go. Let's go judge Hank's dunking ability.
Oh yeah.
You can give us the scout's take on this.
Hank, I got to see how far you are.
It's gonna be great.
Bear in mind that
PMTV.
Bear in mind that what you're watching today is probably like 5 inches better than what it was 3 months ago.
Yeah, I worked out this morning too.
Here
okay,
come
so
the
he's got-
excuses.
yeah, sore legs.
Squats.
You're giving an excuse to Danny Ainge, who was basically the best at every single sport. Yeah, you worked out today.
Yeah, just go do it, man.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Danny.
All right. Thank you.
Pardon Your Take is brought to you by EA Sports College Football 25. I am so excited for this. It's coming out. We've seen the trailers. Features all new composure system, player wear and tear, home field advantage, diverse play styles across 134 FBS teams. I might win. I might mess around and win a championship, national championship with JMU, Sunbelt representing. Through Dynasty, you can create a coach, you can upgrade their abilities, establish your staff, then recruit the best talent either straight from high school or direct from the transfer portal. Coach Doug's is going to be playing College Football 25. You can pre-order the MVP bundle now to get College Football 25 and Madden NFL 25. Plus, can't miss rewards in both, like 3-day early access. You're going to want that 3-day early access, by the way. 3 days is an eternity in video games. 4,600 Madden points, college football points, Madden Early Access Ultimate Team Challenges, Madden Cover Athlete Elite Player Item, and more. You get all sorts of goodies when you order the MVP bundle. Pre-order the MVP bundle right now. You get College Football 25 and Madden NFL 25. Get involved.
Okay, let's wrap it up with some Pardon Your Take. Reminder, we're back on Friday, and we also have 35 minutes of Bill Walton from our 2017 interview after numbers here coming up.
Hey, Big Cat PFT and the boys. I have a college football fan base question
left out
for
a
you.
co-host.
I'm a massive Colorado Buffalo fan. I have always been, even before Deion showed up. I've enjoyed seeing Colorado being brought out more in conversation, but now it's mainly people just hating on Colorado. Would you rather be a fan of a team that no one talks about or be a fan of the team that everyone hates?
That's a good question.
I would rather be a fan of a team that everyone hates if the hate was because we were winning. This isn't that.
If the hate was because you talked a big game and you never did anything,
You didn't win.
then that'd be tough. Yeah, that'd be really tough. Right now, as a fan of many teams that nobody cares about, it's not that bad.
Yeah, Colorado's so weird to me because Colorado, and this is maybe just, the 90s kid in me, like I remember when Colorado was a big deal and Cordell Stewart and all those teams and Rashaan Salam and
Westbrook.
Yeah, Westbrook. But it's crazy they're not good because Boulder is like the coolest place on earth and their colors are awesome and their stadium is awesome. I know that doesn't actually make a college football program,
And
but in my
Ralphie-
dumb brain it does. It's like, do you have a cool stadium, cool colors, and is it a cool place to go to school? Okay, you should be good at football.
Well, that's also what would make people hate it more if you were also good at football.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have everything.
Yeah, I think that this type of hate is not the best hate. You want it like people. If you're Alabama, you probably love being hated.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun hate to have.
Because you can
Georgia, fun hate.
you can always just be like, well, we're going to kick your ass.
Yeah, Michigan this past year, that's a very fun hate. Us against the world, and you're winning. But this one is not as fun of a hate.
Yeah. For a while, for my teams, it's been us against the world, and we've just gotten our teeth
world.
kicked in by the world.
The world keeps winning.
The world minus 2,000.
Yeah.
I know it's late, but Max's Sixers ruined the NBA lottery. The process has failed like everything in Philly lately, and it pisses me off even more that because of those losers, they changed the whole lottery system. I've watched so much bad basketball because I never got to see Blake dunk because he was hurt, and Detroit is in its longest championship drought as a city ever. I hope that Wemby could save us, but instead all I got was another kick to the dick. Fuck the NBA, fuck the lottery, fuck the Sixers, and fuck you, Max.
Did Philly ruin the Detroit Pistons?
That's a fair pardon your take.
Yes.
Like, if you're a Pistons fan, you have a fair gripe to be like, hey, the way the lottery worked for all these years, we should have been in that lottery and we should have gotten Wemby.
How about you just be better?
Well, no, you didn't do
but
that.
The process, that's not what the process was at all.
You literally were worse to game the system.
You ruined it for the rest of us.
You pulled the ladder up on everyone else.
That's not true.
Yeah, you did. You climbed the ladder by getting number one picks.
You
and pulled it up.
You sucked so flagrantly that you ruined every other shitty team ever.
You're the baby boomers of NBA franchise.
We're the only team that admitted it.
But you understand this Pistons point. This is a fair pardon your take.
Yeah.
They have suffered, and they just wanted a good shot at Wemby for being so bad, and all they keep getting is the 5th pick.
Sorry. I don't give a fuck
Yeah,
about.
you don't sound sorry.
I don't give a fuck about.
Also, one correction on this guy's take. The process isn't over yet, right? We're still processing?
Yeah. The process of the process is not concluded yet.
Sorry, that was a cigarette Snickers burp.
The process of the process worked. The results of the process, jury's still out.
Thank you.
We still have not decided if the process worked or not. Until Joel Embiid,
how many more years?
It's unfortunately PFT. I think it's in perpetuity because it's until like Joel Embiid will play for the Sixers, then he'll demand to leave because the Sixers fans will be so mean to him, and then his trade assets will be part of the process.
Got it.
And then the next guy will
Whoever
be part
you draft.
of the. So they're in a process for the Sixers fans. As long as some piece of the process is still alive and they win a title in 50 years, they can be like, the process worked.
Yeah.
Precisely.
Jesus.
Precisely.
I do feel bad, but if it's any consolation to Detroit, San Antonio was always going to get Wemby.
Yeah.
That's how it was going to work.
And you have Jared.
You know what we need? We need all the current Sixers right now to just retire. Then the process is over.
Mm-hmm.
How would that not be
if
the
they
process
just
over?
Disbanded the
No,
team?
I just don't want. I disagree.
Right, but if they did that, then we would be done with the process.
Sure.
But also, if they disbanded the team and they all quit, then you would never have another playoff loss again, and that would be a win.
Or if the Sixers just win, the process is done.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't.
All right, one with this one.
Imagine if Max won.
What's next? He's going to get the lottery ball?
I haven't won. I know I haven't. Well, actually, technically, I have won on this show.
Yeah, Cubs.
Won a World Series.
That's huge.
But
the Hank Celtics have seen nothing but success. I have seen nothing but success.
Raise your hand if your team's won a championship on part of my take.
Pug, what are you raising your hand for? Oh, the NIT? Yes, Pug. Yes, the NIT.
champs, you know.
Pug. Memes?
Georgia won back-to-back national championships.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Georgia
Yeah,
fan. Yep. Hell yes. Max, did you want to raise your hand?
Next, pardon your take.
Okay.
And Jake's P's are still in it.
Yeah.
Still in it.
Still
and
in
I'm
it.
just one by being on this podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Are they calling them the P's now?
I think that's
I've seen
solely Brooks Koepka.
But it started to spread a little bit. I've seen like 3 or 4 other people call
Feels
them.
weird.
Yeah,
But
when
I
Brooks
kinda
said
like
it on
it.
here,
Yeah.
I just like went with it.
Yeah.
But I've never heard that before that.
Shane is going to win because he's got Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
So, Max, yeah. Have you ever gotten this in real life? No.
Close, though. Would you rather? Last one. A series, NBA or NHL, that ends in a sweep, but all 4 games were closely contested and entertaining throughout. Relatable. Or a series that goes 7 games, but the first 6 games were all blowouts. Cheers, Tyler.
Is it which would you rather watch?
Would you rather?
7. Because he said seventh game could be great.
It just says the first 6 were all blowouts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so 7.
Yeah. Also, in a 7-game series, you get a lot of weird storylines that
Yeah.
pop up and creep up, and a lot of stuff to talk about. And and get excited about.
A 4-game sweep where all games were closely contested and entertaining throughout. It's a great experience.
I wonder why you're saying that. Yeah, I'm over that. We call that the Lakers. How far away were the Lakers?
2 years in a row. Back to back, almost best team in the NBA.
They lost.
That didn't.
They lost to the team that lost to the team that lost to the team.
But
they can't even. If the Nuggets won it all, the Lakers could be like, we were so close. But they literally, if the Mavs lose to the Celtics, the Lakers lost to the maximum amount of teams.
But that's so small-minded of you, Big Cat. The only reason that the Nuggets lost in 7 games, by the way, is because they were exhausted.
Yeah, I guess.
From playing against the Lakers.
But I just realized that it would be the maximum amount of teams that they lost to. Tough. Every team every team after lost. Tough. Okay. Max, do I owe you a number? This is the last one? No. That was last week. All right. I wanted 20 so bad to happen.
Yeah, but it would have been great.
All right, let's do numbers.
32.
18.
56.
Wow.
Banner 18, Jake.
6.
Ooh, nice.
I gave you a second.
Max, would you like to trade 20 for 56 right now, 1 for 1?
No.
3.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Never give a man 2 numbers that you like.
99 pug.
What was your number, PFT?
32.
21.
I'm looking at 56.
3.
I'm looking at 56 right now, though. I don't like that.
I'm picking 3.
Max, this lottery machine is so far in your head.
So far in his head.
What'd you say, Max?
What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
What'd you pick?
Oh, 20.
And I have 56, his other number.
Okay.
I'm picking
35.
Look good for half a second.
35.
Love you guys.
I thought that said 56.
Okay, we have our special re-release of our 2017 interview with Bill Walton. If you missed it when we did the interview, it's must listen. This is 35 minutes of it. Also, like I said, we never released it on video, so go watch it where we have all the video. And it is brought to you by ourselves, Pardon My Cheesesteak. Go check out Pardon My Cheesesteak now. It's a pickup and delivery only restaurant bringing you craveable cheesesteaks, tenders, loaded fries, and desserts for lunch, dinner, and late night. Choose from our expanded menu that has regular cheesesteaks, Chipotle cheesesteaks, and Chipotle chicken, buffalo chicken or chicken bacon ranch cheesesteaks, and the newly added buffalo tender sub, which features crispy chicken tender tosses, tossed with buffalo sauce, topped with ranch and pickles on a toasted hoagie roll. You can order the Big Cat combo and get your cheesesteak of choice, fries, and a drink. And don't forget the Max Special 2 sodas with more than 1,500 locations nationwide. Find a Pardon My Cheesesteak near you and order yours now at pardonmycheesesteak.com or by using the QR code on the screen here. Use code PMC20 for 20% off your order. And here he is from 2017, the legend, Bill Walton. All right.
Wow. I am the luckiest guy on earth. I'm at the MGM Grand. I've got a view of the Statue of Liberty outside my room. I'm fired up, and I'm with a couple of guys named Dan. Dan, right?
Yeah, Big Cat.
Big
Dan,
Cat?
yeah.
Dan, how many names you have?
2.
And PFT?
You nailed it.
Is
yes.
that like a restaurant like PF Chang's or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, you can think of it that way. You actually,
Okay.
you know my name better than our lawyer does. So thanks.
So I'm sure everyone
That's
can
a
tell.
good thing.
I'm sure everyone can tell the man on the mic.
I'm Bill.
That's Bill with 2 L's.
From San Diego.
From San Diego.
And
Bill
I'm the
Walton,
luckiest guy on earth.
NBA legend, college basketball legend.
No, man. I was lucky.
Yeah, you're
I
a
was
legend.
lucky because I had fantastic parents. My first coach was the greatest coach I ever had. The message in my life was Chick Hearn, the most positive, optimistic, happy guy. A guy who had a lot of reason to be sad. Chick lost both his children when they were, in their 30s and 40s. And then John Wooden. John Wooden, who was this remarkable person that I had no idea what I had because I grew up thinking that everything was perfect.
Did John Wooden's ears were they always very large?
I never.
Did you
looked
notice
his
at the
ears.
end the lobes got? I think that's something that just
I
happens
never
with
noticed
age.
old
that.
age.
Yeah.
I never noticed that. I made a conscious decision in my life when I was 21 and I graduated. I was Coach Wooden's easiest recruit. I became his worst nightmare, and I drove the poor guy to an early grave at 99. But here was a guy who, when I was 21, when I graduated from UCLA, he had his pyramid of success, which we thought was crazy. He had his 7-point creed, which we thought was, what's this? He had his 2 sets of threes that did make sense. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't whine, don't complain, don't make excuses. He had his endless maxims. He had his tools to overcome the adversity and the tough times. I mean, he wrote everything down. And he was an English teacher by profession who happened to have young people under his athletic supervision in the afternoon. But here was this guy who, on the day I graduated, he wrote a maxim for me, to Bill Walton. It's the things you learn after you know it all that count. John Wooden. And that still sits on my desk at home. And although home these days is at the MGM Grand, where it's just like spectacularly beautiful. Right now. And right behind me, we have Red Rock Canyon State Park.
You said that. You actually said this. So when you came in, you sat down and you said, "I don't want to look. I want my seat to have its back to the window. Otherwise, I'm just going to stare out there."
Concentration, focus, discipline. That's what I really need work on.
Okay. And then the clock. What about the clock? You have a clock.
I live by the clock.
You sat down and you put a clock down here.
Preparing to fail.
Okay.
And you got to know what the time is, because you have to know. And this was another thing I got from John Wooden, because when we would go and play as children, and I played all the time. Basketball was my religion. The gym was my church. I loved basketball. It was the easiest thing I've ever done besides academics in my life. And
not to brag.
My challenges have been orthopedic health.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 37 orthopedic surgeries. Both my ankles are fused. I've got a replaced knee as well now, and now I have a replaced and brand new reconstructed, rebuilt spine. My other big challenge in life was my speech impediment. I'm a lifelong stutterer, and I couldn't say a word. I couldn't say hello. I couldn't say thank you until I was 28 years old. Wow. And then Marty Glickman, one of the greatest broadcasters, one of the greatest human beings ever. Please check out his book, Fastest Kid on the Block. Please check out his movie on HBO, Glickman. Marty's now passed. And when Marty did pass, they came to Coach Wooden for a comment, because, Coach is he is so experienced, so worldly, and so old that he knew everybody. And so Marty, who completely changed the world of broadcasting and humanity and spirit and ethics and moral clarity, when he passed, they asked Coach Wooden about him, and Coach was going on and telling a story about how great a person and humanitarian and philanthropist and broadcaster and really everything that Marty Glickman was. But then he turned it and he said, "But I've got a problem with Marty." Because Marty, he taught Bill Walton how to speak, but now he's passed away and he didn't tell Bill Walton how to stop talking.
That's a fair.
So Dan,
Yeah.
Big Cat, PFT.
Yes.
How's the restaurant business?
The restaurant's going well.
Good. I love to eat.
I
eat so much. I wish I didn't have to eat so much.
If I were to open a restaurant, it would just be nachos. Just nachos and buffalo wings.
Really?
We'd have a deep fryer, and that'd be it.
You guys are so young. You're probably not into health food, man. You got to get into health. You got to get into sustainability.
What does that mean? I'm not into health food, or do you think that I'm fat?
Call me fat.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, that's okay.
No,
Yeah, I know that you're really into health. You're a biker, right?
I'm fat.
You're a bicyclist,
you're not.
right? You're an avid bicyclist.
I love my
So
bike.
me and you, we actually have a little connection here. You
What's
lost
that, PFT?
You lost your bike when you went to Hawaii. You remember that?
Oh, one of the worst.
Yeah.
No, not one of the worst customer experience ever. But I got it back.
That's why we have Twitter accounts.
Yeah, I saw you on Twitter,
back.
and I called the resort. I called the resort for you.
Thank you.
And I was like, my friend Bill lost his bike. You have to help him get it back. So I essentially found your bike for you.
PFT, you're my man. The Statue of Liberty, shining the light.
There we
Big
go.
open hand here. Have you guys seen that picture at the Bill Graham traveling exhibit? Bill Graham, the guy who created the concert world experience that we have today. I was at Desert Trip. How about you guys? It was over the top.
You have become somewhat of a viral phenomenon with.
What is? I'm a virus now.
Viral.
Yeah, so
VIRILE.
You.
I just had viral pneumonia, man. It was the worst.
You're the only. Let's put it this way: you are wholly unique in the way you announce games and you do your color play with Dave Pash.
Who?
Are there moments where you?
Who is the guy you mentioned?
Your co-host.
What's his name?
Is it not Dave Pash?
I don't know.
He's messing with you, big cat.
Oh, okay, he screwed up the name before.
Oh, no, now we're going to deflect it onto
No, but that's why now I'm name conscious.
Good radio.
Right.
So you're Big Cat.
So
I'm Bill
you-
with 2 L's. This is
okay.
PFT.
You nailed it.
All right.
Pure, fine, and talented.
So when you go off in the middle of the broadcast, do you ever get lost in your own mind and you like almost forget where you are?
I get lost all the time, and
It's unbelievable to listen to. Like people love to listen to it. It's late night on the East Coast.
It's fun to get lost, and it's important to get lost, but getting lost, that implies that I know where I am to begin with. and that's a giant leap of faith right there. But I love education. I love knowledge. I love science. I love facts. I love politics. I love music. I was just upstairs before I came down here, and I woke up at the crack of dawn. I was up late last night working, and I woke up at the crack of dawn knowing that I had a chance to be on this special show. And so as I'm clearing my life and trying to wash away the sins, trying to cleanse the stains of my life, and try to come down here and be able to shine that light, because as that light comes in, you can't keep it. Your job, your duty is to reflect it. And so I put on my iTunes, and I found John Fogerty, and he was singing, and he had guys singing with him, and it was just over the top, and it took me back to a new place.
Heard a soundbite the other day of you saying that there's a lot of synchronicity between the NBA and your favorite band, the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. It's not just the NBA, it's basketball.
Basketball
it's
in general.
sport.
So I want to play a quick
basketball
game with you.
more than any other sport.
Right.
Because see, the other sports, you're standing around. Cycling, I like speed.
Right.
I'm a speed freak.
you're a
I want to
jam
keep
band.
going.
Yeah,
It's
you're
rush.
on the court. It's a jam
it's a
band.
drug.
It's rush.
It makes you
Cycling's
high.
rush.
Yeah, well, that's kind of prog
Progressive
rock.
rock.
Nerd
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah.
But
It makes you
Get
so
faster,
high
faster.
when you're riding your bike.
Yeah.
You see those mountains over there? When you're riding your bike straight up those mountains, that makes you so high. When you're playing basketball and there's 20,000 people there yelling and screaming, even if there's no people there, it's the greatest thing in the world because you're moving and you're doing something and you can make a positive contribution on every single play. These other sports, they just stand around.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they stop all the time. I hate that.
yeah, I want to play a quick game with you in
Sure.
that vein.
Okay. Who's the ref?
I'm gonna name
Okay.
4 NBA teams, and you tell me which Grateful Dead song matches up best
Okay.
with them
Okay,
as a
now,
soundtrack.
let me just say that I am not good at thinking on my feet.
I'll help you.
I would disagree with
I'll
that.
help
I'm
you.
not good at
I'll
thinking
help
on my
you.
feet. And so the answers I'm going to give now
There are no wrong answers.
What's your favorite Grateful Dead year, by the way, before we start this game?
this year.
Okay.
Next
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, first of all, it's all one song. I remember it. We were there. It was at Poly. It was at Poly Pavilion, right?
Life is just one long song,
Right.
right?
There's just different verses.
All right.
So,
So-
wait a second. Let me tell this story real quick. We're at Poly Pavilion, right? And the Grateful Dead, every year we're at UCLA. The Grateful Dead would come and play at Poly Pavilion. I didn't know them at the time. I was too shy. I had opportunities to meet them. I became a fan, which was my first Dead show when I was 15, 1967, Summer of Love. It was just incredibly great. And so my life was never the same again. And then over the years, there was always these opportunities to meet him, but I was just too shy and I couldn't talk. And I was very much of a loner as a person. On the stage, on the court, it's fantastic. You know, the light's all shining on me. Otherwise, I'm heading back to my hotel room. I'm going to the library. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to go to the beach by myself. I'm going to just be by myself. And so, but that changed when I learned how to speak. Anyway, so Coach Wooden, when the Grateful Dead would come in and play at Poly Pavilion, they would use our locker rooms as their dressing room. And Coach Wooden would come in the next day.
It still smell.
And he'd say, "What's that smell?" I said, "Nothing, Coach. There's nothing to see here." And so,
Incense.
But we were out in the audience. One of these shows at Poly Pavilion, and the Grateful Dead were just all over the place. Just one of those spectacular ricocheting journeys through the universe, right? Where you're bouncing off Pluto and Mars and going into other solar systems. And it's just like, wow, let's go. And then they would come back and go out and come back. And somebody in the crowd said, wow, hey, they already played that song. And somebody else said, hey, man, it's all one song.
That would blow my mind
Love
right
it.
there.
Love it.
That's an all-time moment.
That's one you might never.
so we're
cover.
That's the kind of stuff that happens in my life every day.
That sounds amazing.
Every day.
We're going to play a quick game. I'm going to name an NBA team, and you're going to tell me which Grateful Dead song it matches.
Okay, I'll try. But bear in mind that if for the people listening at home and the people keeping score at home, if you write these answers down, tomorrow there might be different answers.
Yeah, it's just a tap into your brain right at this very moment.
Because that's one of the problems. Yeah. That's one of the problems in my life is that
the test is always changing.
Right. The answers change, the questions change, and I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So first one, we'll make an easy one. San Antonio Spurs.
I'm gonna play this game with you.
Yeah. Okay. The San Antonio Spurs. Okay. I love
Touch of Grey.
I love Greg Popovich. That guy is awesome. And I don't know if you know Peter Holt's story, the owner of the team. That guy. Do we have time to tell this story?
Yeah, of course. We have as much time as you want. We have nowhere to go.
Okay. So Peter, you talk about the song. You talk about the sustainability and the dream and something special. I mean, this franchise was just floundering. They were going to fold. They had nothing going on. Peter Holt, he is an heir to the Caterpillar tractor family, right? He is, at the top. And so Peter, somehow, some way, he ends up in Vietnam as in the fight. And, don't ever let anybody tell you that Vietnam was fun or that Vietnam was good. That was the epitome of evil and selfishness and greed and crony capitalism and war profiteering and just all the worst of the worst. That was Vietnam. And so Peter, fortunately for him, he survives. But he comes back and ends up in San Francisco, as so many people did. And California, meet me on the burning shore, the promised land, just knocking on heaven's door. I mean, Peter goes there, and his life is never the same again. And so, but he loses a lot, if not everything, including his family connections, because the family basically just cut him out. And he was just out on his own. So Peter, like Marty Glickman, when he had his challenges and his problems, like so many of us try to do, Peter was able to get back up. And he got back up and started over again. And this is the ultimate challenge in life. And this is what I've tried to do many times. By taking the worst things that ever happened to you and make them into the best things that ever happened to you. When my spine failed, February 24th, 2008, and I went from the top, even though I had been slowly debilitating physically, and I was getting worse and worse and worse, but it was on February 24th, 2008, that I got off the plane and could no longer move. And I spent the next 4.5 years trying to get back up and trying to go. And I tried everything. And I did not understand the concept of everything until my spine failed. I thought I knew a lot of stuff. But when your spine fails and you're lying on that ground and you would just rather be dead, that was me. If I had a gun, I would have used it. There was no reason for me to ever think that I was going to get better, that I had a chance. But I am all better now. And so during that time, I got fired from my job, lost my health insurance, lost everything, my dignity, self-respect. I had lost everything. And just lying on the ground, nothing I could do about it. But now here I am. That's 9 years ago. And so I have been able to learn this time and take it back to the other times when my ankle fusions, knee replacements, all that kind of stuff, and personal failures, financial failures. But to learn to take those failures and turn it around to it becomes the best thing in your life. And that's what Peter Holt did. And he climbed back up, he got back in, and he bought the San Antonio Spurs. And he has created this culture of excellence, a culture of success, a culture of genius. And that's what I want to be a part of in my life. I don't want to be a part of negativity. I don't want to be a part of intimidation. I don't want to be a part of anger. I want to be a part of joy, of happiness. And so as we think of the song, you said Touch of Grey. I mean, I don't know. I can't think quickly enough to
I'm going to go with Truckin'.
Truckin'? That's
because of the owner and also the Spurs. Every year they're there.
They're all good.
They just keep on going.
They're all good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was your question, PFT?
Lakers. Now we'll do the Lakers.
Ooh.
A little close to home for you.
Do you think Magic was the right hire?
Absolutely. We love Magic.
Okay.
Everything Magic does is fit. Magic is, he's one of those rare beacons of hope. I mean, look, come on. They told Magic he was going to die, and now look at him. He's just like Magic is perfect. And you talk to David Stern. And David Stern, all the things he's done in his life, said the best thing he ever did was with Magic Johnson. When Magic Johnson went and played in that 1992 All-Star game. Dick Enberg, our college broadcaster, one of my best friends, Dick Enberg called that game. And then Don Nelson coached that game. And Magic went out there. It just was fantastic. And what he's done. And, okay, so I love Magic Johnson. But the Lakers and the Grateful Dead. See, you guys are, I'm not sure you guys are deadheads.
I am. I don't.
Yeah.
PFT is not.
Right. Well, no.
He appreciates them.
Right. Well, see, like being a deadhead is a personal choice.
Right.
And, when I first went, I had listened, I had heard him on the radio. And the DJ, he was the one that prompted me to go. It was Gabriel Wisdom. It was 1967. And he said, hey, man, there's a new band. They're going to have a concert. Let's go. Everybody got in free. And it was fantastic. And I got to the front of the stage and just happiness and joy and love and peace and, singing Uncle John's band. The first days are the hardest days. Don't you worry about it, no. When life looks like Easy Street, there's danger at your door. What I want to know is, are you kind and will you come with me? Come here, Uncle John's band.
There we go.
I love
That's the Lakers. So for me, my love for the Grateful Dead has always been like I'll float around and listen to other music and like other music, but whenever I put in, a Grateful Dead concert or Dick's Picks when it was back when it was CDs, there's just something different. You know what I mean? It just feels different than all other music that you're listening to.
There's nothing like a Grateful Dead. There's nothing like a Grateful Dead concert. Bill Graham said it best. The Grateful Dead, they're not the best at what they do. They're the only ones that do what they do. And you talked about Dick's Pick, so you know Dick Latvala.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you how this works, because I'm not sure. How old are you? Are you
I'm
19?
32.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
See the gray hairs?
Oh,
By the way,
please.
do you hate Donna?
Who?
Donna Gotcha?
I love Donna.
Come on. Be honest.
I love Donna. Please.
Okay.
No time to hate.
Okay.
That's
All
right.
right.
Only
Barely
positivity, Big
time
Cat.
to
All right.
wait.
All right. Okay.
Please.
I'm not a Donna fan, if you couldn't tell.
He'll listen to you whine one time, Big Cat.
I
but
thought
next time.
I'm not a Donna
Donna
fan.
is an
Brent
angel
Midland
of
was my
mercy.
favorite.
Brent Midland is fantastic.
era.
I wish they would play his songs again. They don't play them anymore, and I'm just sad because I love those songs. But let me tell you the story of Dick Latvala, and this is sort of how this whole life works.
That was actually, by the way, the first time you didn't smile in the entire interview was when I bashed Donna.
No, I'm standing up for Donna.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
I love Donna.
That's a ride or die guy.
And as soon as they turn this camera off, I'm going to punch you in the face. So we're on tour with the Dead, and we're up at Red Rocks. And I think it was in the 80s. I'm not sure. Somebody will know. Red Rocks, fantastic. 3 days, 3 nights in a row. And everybody's there. Camping, parties, hotels. Let's go. Just having the time of our lives. Show starts first night. Bam! The heavens explode. Thunder, lightning, just torrential, historic, epic, monumental rain, right? Just pounding all night long. But the fans, they all just stayed. Not a one left, and it was the Grateful Dead, and it was just better than perfect. And what we lived for, it was our team, it was our guys, it was our leaders, it was our beacons, and let's go to the promised land and let's celebrate. And so, but it just rained, all just floods, water, rivers coming right down through the Red Rocks amphitheater bowl there. This phenomenal place. And so the concert's over and everybody goes back and they're looking at the weather report and talking to the guys and the police and everything. And they just said, look, this rain is going to keep going for the next 3 days. And so at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the band makes the decision, look, let's cancel Red Rocks and move the whole show downtown to McNichols Arena, which was the NBA arena at the time. And so everybody in the middle of the night gets up, drives back out to Red Rocks, works all night through the dawn, tearing everything. Grateful Dead, that's a big production. Mm-hmm. That's a big show. And tons of equipment, tons of lighting, everything. work all day, tear it down, drive it down into town, set it up at McNichols, and at the announced starting time, they were ready. And they come out on the and it just, but everybody's beat, everybody's dead tired, and all the deadheads, we're all still wet from the night before, but the music starts up, and the joy and the happiness and the rainbows and the people and the smiles and the love and the spinners and just everything is just fantastic, right? So I'm just cruising through the whole arena, just listening to the music play and riding the wave and just having the time of my life as they're just going through, again, ricocheting off the comets and the stars and the planets in the universe, whichever one we're in that night. And I come around this corner, and there's this guy. Looks a lot like you, Big Cat. And he's walking right toward me. He's got these dazed, glazed eyes, and he's just like fierce and he's intense. And I can just feel it. I can see it.
Sweaty.
And sweaty.
Strong,
and I look at him,
athletic.
powerful, handsome.
Yeah.
I look at him, and he has got this shirt on. And I stop. We come face to face. So we stop, and I look at him, and I said, that is the coolest shirt I've ever seen in my life. This was like an airbrushed history of the world through the prism of the Grateful Dead, right? With pyramids and exploding bus stops, rainbows, serpents coming out. And it was just as wild a shirt as you could possibly imagine. I said, that's the coolest shirt I've ever seen. I had no idea who he was. He just looks at me, doesn't say a word, and rips off his shirt and gives it to me.
Wow.
And then he just goes on his way,
Was he
riding
also
another
7
wave.
feet tall?
Did it fit?
No, he was like a little short guy, like Big Cat here. And so the night goes on, and I put the shirt on, right? And I'm wearing the shirt. And so, and it was a fantastic shirt. People were talking all night long about my shirt, and the show's over. And so now we're all leaving. We're down the stage, out the back door, and through the gauntlet, all the fans reaching and grabbing and trying to get all the autographs and take the pictures, and the vans are waiting right there, and we're getting in the vans. And I look over, and there's that guy who gave me the shirt. And he's standing on the front of the rail, reaching in, looking, still with no shirt on.
Yes.
And I look at him, and I said, you're coming with us. And so I picked him up by the back of the neck and lifted him up over the barrier, threw him in the van, and says, let's go. We got back to the hotel. I introduced him to everybody all around. They looked at my shirt and said, oh my God, that's the coolest shirt ever, Bill. And they hired him on the spot. That was Dick Latvala, and he went on to become the curator of the vault.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
You never know.
So people who don't know, Dick, he basically was the librarian for all of Grateful Dead's
and
music.
his job was to sit in the vault all day long and listen to all the old concerts and decide which ones were good enough to put
Dick's
out
picks.
as re-releases.
Right.
Sometimes the universe
CDs.
just kind of works together like that, doesn't
That's
it?
the way all of our universe works. We just have to keep our eyes open. And we just have to keep our shoulders back and our heads up.
That's also the most Grateful Dead story ever, because they basically pick like the highest guy in the world to listen to all their music.
No. That's the way it always works in the Grateful Dead. I promise. Pain is no good, and don't ever discount pain, because the challenge in life is to get out of pain.
Gotcha.
No.
We're busy in here, please.
Busy.
I'm with PFT and Big Cat.
Housekeeping's trying to get in.
Yeah.
They're breaking into our room
This-
here.
okay,
This is
wait,
the forces of evil.
Forces of evil. What was your? Let's do another team.
Oh yeah,
This
I
is
forgot
great
about
because
that.
I mean, it's like team.
We'll jump back.
When we get a story, which is exactly what we wanted this interview to be.
No,
Team,
thank
then
you.
story. No, thank you.
We're busy. Force of evil. A gift from room
gift.
service.
A gift.
Let's see what it is.
All right, well, let's see what the
Hank,
gift
you
is.
got it?
Hank is going to go check it out. By the way, have
Please,
you ever?
please have the security
have
forces
you-
check this, please.
you-
These
do
forces
you-
of evil, they get at you in lots of different ways.
What do we got?
Oh, it's a can of beer nuts. Let's open it up. I'm
Do
sure
you
there's no snakes
and
in
Dave
it.
Pash ever have a talk about the fact that he doesn't believe in evolution?
Thank you.
I had to wait till a gift came in to ask you the hard
Oh
question.
my gosh.
Do you have
Like a
that
bottle of
conversation
champagne
with him
just
ever?
came in.
I love discourse.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
love
same.
I love
Oh, I meant intercourse, but yeah, discourse.
I love I love that too. Yes, I love my wife. My wife is fantastic. Can you imagine being married to me? What'd they bring you guys? Some bottle of tequila, some chocolates and stuff. Oh my gosh! If you can't do it for breakfast, you can't do it all day long. Don't do it at all, guys.
That's right.
All right. So, do you talk to him at all about the fact that he doesn't believe in evolution?
No, man. No. Please,
you've been to the Galapagos, right?
Oh, one of the great trips ever.
Yes.
You need to take him.
God.
You need to take him there.
I didn't know him then. No,
But
young.
you
He's
need
young.
to take him there.
He's
Let's
very
get
young.
photos.
He's
Yeah.
very young.
Yeah.
Look, don't look. We're trying to bring people along. We're trying to get. My job in life is to be a human forklift and a human solar panel. So
I'm a road grader.
Wow.
So like, well.
I'm more one of those traffic cones. It's kind of like got dirt on it, and everyone's like, "That's the saddest traffic cone."
But
you've
think
ever seen.
think of the forklift. A forklift picks things and people up and puts them in a better place.
Mm-hmm.
Think of them as a solar energy is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world. Are you kidding?
That's a power plant
so
up there in the sky.
sunny out there.
Right.
More solar energy hits the earth every day.
But now let me stop you
Every
here.
day.
Don't whine.
You
Don't
could
complain.
You could do the sun, or we could just go and
burn
start
coal.
another war in the Middle East.
Right. I'm choosing the sun.
Okay.
I'm
all right.
choosing solar
Tomato,
power.
tomato here.
Or
No.
we could start a new ice age, kill all the humans,
I'm not
and then
into that.
dinosaurs come back. Then they die. Then millions of years after that, we've got more oil.
Yeah.
Man, what kind
then
of-
maybe Dave Pash will believe in evolution.
What kind of trip are you guys
Yeah,
on?
we
But-
could. We
You
could
guys
get
sound
there.
like Dave. You
We're
guys
totally
love
fine with
coal.
I
right?
actually read a story yesterday in the New York Times, and
About what?
I think that you would enjoy it. It's about the Galapagos, which is one of my favorite places on earth.
You've been there.
Yeah, I've been there. Had the best time.
Were the
ever.
Angermeyers still alive when you were there?
The Angermeyers.
So the Angermeyers are 5 brothers who
I didn't meet the
I was going to say,
Angermeyer
are
brothers.
these- okay.
The Angermeyers are 5 brothers in the early 1930s in Germany, and this was when Hitler was just coming up. And if you haven't read Eric Larson's In the Garden of Beasts, please make that. We've talked about a number of books here, but that book right now today is critical. But all the books I've mentioned today are critical. And anyway, their parents, the Angermeyers' parents, saw what was happening. They were Jewish, and so they put their children on a boat, and knowing that they would never see their children again. And the boys, they ended up in the Galapagos.
Jeez.
And in the 30s.
What island were they on?
The main, I forget the names. It's the main island. Porta Ayora, is that the name of the town?
There's
What's the name
San
of the
Cristobal.
What's the
there's
name
Santa
of the town?
Cruz.
Porta Ayora, right? Where the harbor is and the town. Anyway, this was a phenomenal trip. And, oh my gosh, it was one of the. I could easily make the argument that certain days on that trip were the greatest. Was the greatest single day of my life. I could make the argument that that trip was the greatest single moment of my life. But then there's all these other things that have happened too.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep coming. And so what I've learned over the course of these now 64 years, never rank, rate, or compare.
That's what I tell my girlfriends all the time.
Championships, concerts, children, coaches, or congratulations.
What about
just enjoy them all.
What about teams? Like could
Teams. Oh,
could UConn women's basketball beat
I
the
love what they're
76ers?
doing. No, they can.
Well,
you
but you're
never
not
answered-
supposed to compare.
so-
You,
so-
you're
not
you
supposed to
never
compare
answered what
things.
you're the best team you ever played on was.
Any team that won the championship.
But
That's what I played for.
But you
Bill
can't
Russell was
tell
my
us-
hero. I played to win. I didn't play for personal glory. I didn't play for.
What was the most
for-
fun team you ever played on?
It's all, when you win the championship.
It's
that's
right. It's
that's
good
So
time.
fun.
it's interesting because
And when you lose, it's like
Yeah.
that's the worst.
Well, you taught us a lesson today.
That's.
Because
a lot of lessons.
Well, no,
I told you what not to do.
No. This is an important lesson because
man.
the way we do this show, we'll game plan our guests and we'll try to steer them different ways. And I think today's interview taught us that you got to let the guest talk about what they want to talk about, because this was one of the most interesting interviews we've done, and we didn't steer. Well, I didn't even look at my pad once.
Coach Wooden. That's the antithesis of what Coach Wooden was like. because Coach Wooden, he never started practice with these words. Never. What do you guys want to do today?
Right. Well, in basketball, you need a coach, and the coach can't
structure, organization, discipline, focus, platform, and that's where the sacrifice comes in, and the discipline, because to be a part of a group, you got to realize, okay, now what's the goal here? And hopefully we achieve something here today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a great time. Thank you for stopping by.
PFT, Big Cat. Here we go. I'm Bill, 2 L's from San Diego.
I'll have to tell you about the Galapagos story in the New York Times some other time, but I think you'll really enjoy it. I saw you talking about the Banff buffaloes, right? The bison.
Oh, yeah, I love buffaloes. I can't believe I'm reading this book right now. Peter Cozen's The Earth is Weeping. Oh my God. It's the story of the Indian Wars in the latter half of the 19th century. Oh, it is just the most tragic story.
Yeah.
And we're right back there again. And they're still making these pipelines.
Yeah.
Come on, solar energy, the biggest no-brainer in the history of the world.
Do it.
Don't think about the past.
Agreed.
Learn from the past. Learn from our mistakes in the past. Quit burning coal. Let's move forward. Solar energy, wind power, hydroelectricity. Let's go. Geothermal.
One last question. I did write this down earlier. I just remembered it. Have you ever found Bobby Jackson?
Bobby Jackson. I know a bunch of Bobby Jacksons.
During that King series.
Right.
You're like, where is Bobby Jackson? Where is
Whenever
Bobby Jackson?
whenever
Oh,
someone
that Bobby
disappears.
Jackson.
Yeah, 6th man of the year.
I do love when you do that. When
That
someone
Bobby
disappears on the
Jackson.
court and you just start saying, where is this person? When they stop playing well.
So you're familiar with the pyramid of success?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's 15 human
Do
values.
they store grain in that pyramid too?
No, they store love. They store happiness.
better.
They store knowledge, which is
Power.
an ephemeral being of stuff.
Did you just call us chicks?
No,
Ephemeral?
no.
I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
I told you I'm not good at thinking on my feet here, man. You guys are.
You are.
You guys are
You
scrambling.
don't give yourself enough credit.
You guys are scrambling my
You
brain.
don't give yourself enough credit.
You guys are trying to join in with those forces of evil. That are getting me. So anyway, the pyramid of success, 15 words. Human values and personal attributes and characteristics of your soul, of your being. And they are industriousness, enthusiasm, friendship, loyalty, cooperation, intentness, initiative, alertness, self-control, physical fitness, skill development, commitment to the team, poise, confidence, and the very top block, competitive greatness. Be at your best when your best is needed. Where is Bobby Jackson?
There we go. That's a
great.
perfect ending.